the CFL. So they got to throw the ball sideline to sideline. How do you slow down the pass rush when you can't run the football? So they've got to make sure they do something to slow down Ceresna and company. That's going to be crucial to their success. Now, the third thing I think is very important in this semifinal game will be this. Toronto leads the Canadian Football League in scoring. For the Red Blacks to outscore them, they have to get better in one area. They're last in the Canadian Football League right now in scoring when they get in the red zone. What's the red zone? From the 20-yard line in. It's an area they've kicked way too many field goals this season. If they want to outscore these guys, they're going to have to make play when they're inside the 10-yard line. They got to get some touchdowns. You know, we always talk about finish with sevens, not threes. That's what's got to happen because there's been too many times that they're inside the 10-yard line, they're inside the 20-yard line, they don't finish. I know Toronto's going to finish because they're the leading scoring team in the CFL. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Drew Brown can do in the score zone tonight, Kate.
Lambo, time to have a little bit of a flashback here. Let's take you to 2016. It was the Hawaii Bowl.
Wow.
And it was Drew Brown in his senior year in college. This is the last playoff game that he started. He had 4 TDs. He had 1 rushing TD. And he actually won it 52-35. His past 2 games, by the way, he's been on fire, throwing for 845 yards, 7 TDs, just those 2 INTs as well. We all do know that the last game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats was meaningless. But look, it's nice to have momentum going into the postseason. And Milt, as I said, this is going to be his first postseason start. A lot of pressure on him as well. And look, we saw the ups and downs this season from Drew Brown, but hopefully he can put it all together today and carry that momentum into this one.
And you talk about that last game, and I talked to receiver coach Travis Moore, and he said, yes, we needed that game. We needed to have some confidence going into the playoffs, and that's just what they have. Drew Brown, his last 2 games, I think he's thrown for over 800 yards. But there was something he said this week that disturbed me a little bit. He said this is just another game. This is not another game. This is a playoff game. There's no tomorrow. And I know he's young and he's just trying to maybe take some pressure off himself, but he has to realize there has to be a sense of urgency. There's no coming back after this. You have to realize that you have to go out and try to play the best game of your life. You're playing against a talented team. I like what they have in him. I think he has a bright future, and I think he can win this game. But his approach has to be different. He has all the tools, but you can't have that mentality saying this is just another game because this is your first playoff game, and this is a big team that you have to play against well.
Yeah, understanding Drew Brown's mentality, I think that's just a peek inside of his mindset and how he is. He's pretty even keel throughout. Doesn't get too up on the highs and too low on the lows. Drew Brown has got that going for him. I think he learned that from Zach Collaros in his time in Winnipeg, which has served him well. So I think that's where his MO comes from. And that is why he's saying those type of things to try to diminish the importance
but
of
Zach
football.
Has gone to how many Grey Cups, and he hasn't done anything yet.
But he's a young quarterback. He's only started 18 games, and I think he's got a lot of ability around him. And when he gets hot, he can sling it around the yard with everybody. But a lot of times as a quarterback, and I can attest to this after my 14 years in the league and playoff games, sometimes it's not up to you. You know, it's your teammates, and you got to disperse the football, and you got to be protected in order to have the time to disperse the football. And so Drew's going to figure all those things out on the road where they're 2-7 this year, and he's got a tall task in front of him.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to play your best football today, go ahead and do it. Whether it's say it's just another game, whether it's say it's the biggest game of your life, I don't care. It's a playoff game. You better bring your A game.
Right.
The best thing I think that Drew Brown does is he anticipates, and the playmakers that he has. He's got to do this. He's got route runners. Jalen Ackland's a great route runner. Hardy, route runners. When you have route runners, the one thing you must do as a quarterback is anticipate. I think he does that as well as most. That's one of his best attributes. And then look at who they have in the lineup. Having Dedmon and Addison in the running backs.
Yeah.
Now, what's that tell you? It tells me
weapons.
Yeah, weapons and quick hitters, right? The weapons, and Maddie, what do you do with weapons? You get the ball in their hands quickly, whether it's screens, hitches, just get their ball in their hands and get it out, let them make plays. I'm thinking with those guys in your backfield, that's your thought process.
That's very interesting that they have those 2 guys because we know Toronto, what they do against the run, second only to Saskatchewan. So are they going to try to run the ball? Are they going to try to get these guys out of the backfield with some matchups, against some linebackers? Are they going to try to do that? Because if they can do that, that'll be a great opportunity for this offense to have success.
And one thing about getting the ball out quickly, if they do that, Toronto plays a ton of zone. So their eyes are on the quarterback. If you throw in quicks, which they're likely to do, that's a bad thing to do against Toronto because their eyes are on the quarterback and their break-ins. That'll be a good matchup.
You guys are really selling me on this game. Like, I was driving into work today, and I was already fired up, and now you guys are taking me to this next level. Like, let's get this game kicked off.
Yeah.
All right, now, obviously, these teams in the postseason, but if you're watching from home, maybe your team isn't part of today's action, but maybe a bright future. With more on that, let's send it over to the insiders, Farhan Lalji and Dave Naylor.
Farhan, with the playoffs upon us and the regular season done, it's time to take a look at the offseason picture of those teams that are finished for the season. And let's begin in Edmonton, where this past week there was a big announcement. Chris Morris, former Edmonton offensive lineman, is the new president. Sounds like he's got a busy agenda.
Absolutely, and that agenda is going to start with hiring a new general manager. And if you listen to Morris's press conference, he certainly sounded like the former University of Alberta football coach, where he's really trying to motivate everybody in the room and make sure they understand what his passion and commitment is for this job and for the community. And that's one of the hallmarks that he's going to be looking for in that new GM, somebody who is fully invested and committed to that community. And then continuity is the other thing he's going to look for. Another priority is going to be experience. So he's going to begin that process right away. G. Roy Simon is going to be one of the candidates, and he's hoping to keep the number 2 around 5 in terms of people that he seriously considers in interviews. He's already had a chance to meet with Simon and head coach Jarius Jackson to kind of give them a sense of what he's looking for. And then some of the other names we've heard in these situations in the past. Ed Hervey is going to be front and center, currently the general manager in Hamilton, but a man who's got very strong ties to the Edmonton community, still has a home there, and many people believe that his heart is still there on a number of levels. So at some point, I expect him to ask Hamilton for permission to talk to Hervey. His contract is up at the end of the year. And then you've also got other names like Ted Govaya, who was a finalist for this job before, along with Ryan Rigmaiden. Govaya in Winnipeg, Rigmaiden in BC. So he'll likely have to wait a period of time based on league protocol to talk to them. Brendan Taman might be another name of interest. So someone who's been a GM before, or at least that 1B assistant GM that's very close to the process. But November 24th, he's given himself a hard deadline to get that done.
And of course, the Hamilton Tiger Cats well aware that Ed Hervey is likely to interview for the job in Edmonton. As you mentioned, their general manager, he did the job on an assistant GM basis for a couple of years before being promoted last December. And of course, if he does move on to Edmonton, the Ticats will take an opportunity to sort of look at the organization, all what they have in-house, possible additions from the outside. Wouldn't necessarily be GM for GM swap. And of course, as you mentioned, Ed Hervey at the end of his contract. So if he doesn't secure the job in Edmonton, there would have to be another conversation about the future with the Ticats. Of course, the big issue looming over the Ticats, as it was a year ago, is what are they going to do with Bo Levi Mitchell at quarterback? You remember a year ago, Mitchell speculated openly that he didn't think he'd be back, and ultimately was, and had a pretty good season. But it was not a season without some stress points. I mean, Scott Mitchell, the head coach who benched Mitchell at one point, I talked to him during the season after Mitchell had a great second half. I said, do you have any regrets over that? He said, no, it was a no-brainer. He was really frustrated with his quarterback over ball security issues, and Bo Levi Mitchell had to kind of take a timeout and felt like he really had the backing of his team. And I think that's recognized in the organization, which is an important thing for the quarterback to feel like not only did he succeed, but he succeeded really with the support and belief of his team. Ultimately, I'm led to believe this is going to come down to Scott Milanovich, the head coach, the offensive coordinator. Is Bo Levi Mitchell the quarterback he wants to go forward with in 2025? That's a decision he's got to make. Mitchell is under contract, so if they want him, they can have him. We expect that decision in not too long.
Well, Ottawa and Toronto just the appetizer today. The Rough Riders and the BC Lions set to do battle in Regina for a spot in the Western Final. We're going to hear from Britt Dort after the break as she gets you set for our second semifinal.
What about their quarterback, Trevor Harrison? He's been playing great football since he returned from injury.
Down the field, one-on-one, drops it in there, touchdown! Down the field, wide open, drops it in there, midfield, touchdown Riders!
Playing as well as anybody in the league right now.
Hope you guys enjoy some great football coming up for playoff football. Go Riders.
So the Rough Riders dominated the Lions when these two teams last met earlier this month with a 39-8 win. BC benched quarterback Nathan Rourke after that loss, turning back to Vernon Adams Jr., who will start today. Overall, though, it is quite a close battle between these two teams. overall, the Riders maybe with the slight edge, but you can't really count what happened in the regular season because both of these teams going up and down like a roller coaster, and there was no one more excited for this Western semifinal than our own Britt Dort, who is completely by herself at Mosaic Stadium. But of course, she had to be dancing. We had to catch it on camera, and now we join her live. Britt, fabulous moves. Let's start with that. And second of all, you look like you're dressed for minus 30 weather. Is it that cold in Regina right now?
I was dancing to keep myself warm, but it's not as cold as I am making it look right now. And who knows, maybe we'll see a little game-winning field goal action about 7 hours from now from where I'm standing on this field. But it's actually a beautiful day here in Saskatchewan. I don't think you could have asked for a nicer day for the West semifinal. However, maybe the fans deserve it because it's been 3 years since they've last seen this Riders squad in a playoff game. However, their quarterback, Trevor Harris, plenty of playoff experience in his time. This will be his 8th career start. And he holds a number of records when it comes to the postseason, including the highest career completion percentage. But he threw that all out the window, saying it doesn't matter about experience. The power and belief I have in this team means way more than any experience could ever when it comes to a playoff game. Now, on the other side, you guys talked about it, Vernon Adams Jr. getting the start here today. He's had a little bit of a roller coaster season, as you mentioned there, Kate, but he ended it on a great note with a dominant win over the Montreal Alouettes. He and Rick Campbell said the team needed that heading into the postseason because they needed the confidence and the realization of the team that they can be and that they are. Now, I asked him about the adversity he's faced this season and what it means to him when it comes to a game like this, and he told me, Britt, that's part of the journey. I'm a pro. I know how to handle it. And when I talked to both him and Trevor Harris heading into these playoff matchups, neither one of them was nervous, Kate. They were cool as a cucumber. They said the biggest, I guess, anxiety is waiting for the kickoff. And I mean, about 4 hours from now, we will see that on this beautiful field. And of course, maybe a little more dancing for you, Kate.
Glad Larry Thompson wasn't driving that little go-kart behind, by the way. I would have said, look out, Britt. And Britt's already got the walk and talk down, by the way, too. Watch out, James Duthie. She is postseason ready. And you know what? So are these two teams. And, Ches, if you look back in the regular season, fascinating with both sides because a lot of similarities here. We had BC and Saskatchewan start off red hot, and then they had a lull in the middle of the season. And now they're ending on the right way. And momentum, of course, is exactly what you want. When you look at the BC Lions, this is all going to be revolving around VA and what he can do. And is this going to be a fairy tale? But for the Riders as well, I listened to these comments by Trevor Harris saying how healthy and ready he is. And this Riders offense, they're ready to go. I just think this is fascinating.
Yeah. I don't have any doubts that this Sask offense and Trevor Harris are going to have success today. I really don't think. I think they're going to be fine. I think they move the ball. The question is, or I guess the key for this BC defense, because I think you guys would agree that they're going to have trouble stopping this offense. And so what I look at is, can this BC defense create turnovers? Can Gary Peters, who definitely should have been an all-star, can he get his hands on the ball? You know, can Christian Covington, who was, supposed to be an impactful guy, have more of an impact on his game? That's the way that this BC Lions defense can win or help their team. They have to create turnovers because I think it's pretty clear when you look at the matchup. This Riders offense is rolling, whether it's on the ground, which we think they'll pound today, or in the air with Trevor in the quick game. It's got to be BC making turnovers. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, to win in playoff football, you have to be able to run the ball. We know Saskatchewan Roughriders, that defense is #1 against the rush. William Stanback didn't do much of anything against them, 50 yards total, I think, in 2 games. But they have Vernon Adams, who can offset that. We know what he can do with his legs. So he's going to have to do more running than what he's done in the past. And we know on the other side of the ball, these Rough Riders, they're going to do what? They're going to run the ball. They're not dressing Armstead and all that not to run the ball. They're not putting those guys back there because they like the way they block for the quarterback. They're putting them back there because they know they can run the ball. They've watched the last 2 West Finals when the BC Lions went into Winnipeg and Brady Oliveira ran all over them. Winnipeg ran the ball more than they threw the ball. That's what these Rough Riders are going to do today. And if the BC Lions can't stop that, it's not Trevor Harris that's going to beat them. It's that running game. They have to make sure those guys up front can stop that running game. If not, they don't have a chance of winning.
No, I agree. That's a deadly combination when you establish a line of scrimmage and pound the football like Saskatchewan intends to do with their lineup, and it's evident that that's what they're wanting to do. That forces defenses to put more people in the box. And when you put more people in the box, you have one-on-one opportunities. And who's the most accurate passer in the Canadian Football League? And those one-on-one opportunities, Trevor Harris. And I think that really lends to the hand. If they can get that done. On the other hand, you've got Vernon Adams, a guy that rushes the ball 12 times a game for 71 yards. And I say those numbers because that's Trevor Harris's total for the year, 12 carries for 71 yards. VA can get that in a game. And to me, that could be a big difference maker. And because we call him big play because he has the capabilities, not only with his arm, but with his legs. And I think this is going to be crucial for them on the road with the crowd in there, and just going absolutely crazy for VA to shut him down early and to use his legs for some big opportunities to move the sticks and potentially score.
Last 3 games for VA against the Rough Riders, over 450 yards passing. I mean, we'll see today, though. Mosaic will try their best. They really will. And we know how great Rider fans are. Should be a fabulous one coming up after Toronto taking on the Ottawa REDBLACKS. You can see this one 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Oh, you know what? It is a perfect tailgate in Toronto as well. Got to take care of some business at BMO. We'll get back to this game right after this. Well, it has been a long time since the Argonauts and the Ottawa have crossed paths in the playoffs. 34 years to be exact, when the Argos defeated Damon Allen and the Rough Riders 34-25. Of course, at the Skydome, Michael Pinball Clemens had himself a game as well. And it wasn't just Damon and Pinner. Look at some of the names that played in this game, including 3 CFL on TSN members. Our own Chris Schultz, Jock Climbing, and Matty D part of that game as well.
No, kid, I was on the sidelines, blown hammy.
Well, you know what? You were still part of the game. You were still there, and you were there in spirit. I was also there in spirit as I was 6 years old. I remember it fondly. Now it's time for Dropping Back with Dave on the unusual non-rivalry of these 2 provincial rivals in the postseason.
With the Toronto Argonauts and Ottawa REDBLACKS set for a playoff clash this weekend at BMO Field, let's revisit the most compelling and dramatic playoff moments between these 2 teams of recent vintage. Or maybe not, because there haven't been any, because the last time they played in a playoff game was 34 years ago. Yes, that's right. The last time Toronto and Ottawa played a CFL playoff game was in November of 1990 at the newly opened Skydome, with the Argonauts prevailing over the Ottawa Rough Riders by a 34-25 score. Yes, kids, the CFL used to have 2 teams named Rough Riders.
Damon Allen looking to James Ellingson, touchdown. See it coming. Again to Clemens. He cuts back inside. He could score. And the Toronto Argonauts will move on to the Eastern Final.
Now, as NHL fans could tell you, Toronto and Ottawa are fully capable of having a heated sports rivalry. In hockey, it's been built on 24 Stanley Cup playoff games played since the last time Toronto and Ottawa played a CFL playoff game. Heck, the Senators didn't even exist the last time there was an Ottawa-Toronto football playoff matchup. So what should be a great football rivalry between Ontario's 2 biggest cities is not, because they simply haven't played. Consider that since that last Ottawa-Toronto playoff matchup, the Ottawa franchise has left the league twice and returned each time under a different name. Or that the Argonauts have won the Grey Cup 7 times since they last faced Ottawa in a playoff game, 2 of which were played in, you guessed it, Ottawa. And Ottawa's only Grey Cup win over that time? Yep, played in Toronto. Yet somehow these teams keep missing each other. Now, rivalries often take shape over a number of years, but the last time Ottawa and Toronto played each other in back-to-back playoff seasons, that would be the late 1960s, when the Argos had their seasons ended 3 years in a row at the hands of Ottawa. Since then, they've met a total of 3 times in the playoffs over 54 years.
Over the middle, it's caught. Mackay poke down the field. Big shot, Hardy.
Toronto, Ottawa, East Division playoffs.
It's hard to create a rivalry without playoff drama, heartbreak, revenge, payback, and iconic moments. So consider Ottawa-Toronto the CFL's blank canvas, a fluke of history waiting to be painted upon as the foundation for bringing a long-dormant rivalry back to life.
No time like the present to renew hostilities between Ottawa and Toronto. And no time like the present to debut Straight Fire postseason edition.
Yes.
All we need is Jim Barker.
I'm like, how do we do this without Jim?
I have no idea. Someone's just got to yell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Milt, I was looking at yours, and good luck with this
Yeah,
name.
well, I'm going to need your help, Kate.
Okay, got
Let's
you.
go to Flag Football Plus in Montreal, and it's Team Sexy facing the Dirty Slugs. Did I just say that?
That's right.
You did.
Silky.
Yeah.
And Sam, what's his last name, Kate?
Anastasopoulos.
Man, he got about 11 syllables in that name.
First
But he
time I'm
makes a
looking at that.
great catch. And that catch right there, Sam, with the 11 syllables, straight fire.
Fire! Cade Saseki with the pass under pressure, deep ball to Blake Olenek. Climbed the ladder to complete the big play. Small town Saskatchewan rivalry, Bantam 8-9. Warman Panthers versus Martinsville Mad Dogs, getting it done.
Oh, we're going
straight.
That's absolute fire right there. We got a kick return. Missed field goal. Saskatoon Hilltops, Charles Sowie against the Edmonton Huskies. He cuts it back, and he's got some speed here. I think he's going to get hawked, but no, I was wrong. He's got some stamina. He's got some speed. Looks like Rocket. Looks like Janarian Grant. Looks like somebody who's straight fire.
Straight fire.
Let's stay in Saskatoon.
What?
Kingsman Football League, Elias Gill with the throw. Look at this catch by Jackson Pulowski. That's amazing with a high-pointed catch. Now, this film's a little bit like Mom and Dad does.
What is that, a
right? Kinda hard
VCR
to see
tape or
this.
something?
Then it's a VCR, what Milton and I used to cover. But the Tinkler Raiders, that's a spectacular play. Straight fire.
Was that shot on a Nokia flip phone? Honestly. Buccaneers 49ers, Regina Flag Football. Jacob Mars with a beauty throw to Kieran Winarski. Only TD. It's a 6-0 victory. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is straight
Can
fire.
I do something since Jim Barker's not here?
Yeah.
Now that right there is straight fire.
You have to say it 3 times in a row.
Straight fire.
One more time.
Straight fire.
The segment's not the same without JB. JB, we miss you, buddy. All right, meanwhile, that was great. But I've always wondered, too, what's it like to get onto a field and try some of these different plays in a specific game? Because they make it look so easy, right? But, you know, I'll give it to Luca and Thomas. They got on the field here with Jeremy Edwards, and they were trying to catch some punts. Oh, it was a good time. Let's roll this.
That's impressive.
All right, we're at Argos practice with punter Jeremy Edwards, and we're gonna get a big lesson on punting today. And most importantly, we're finding out how hard it is to actually catch these punts. We've been watching you guys boom it out here today.
Oh, there you go.
Ready for the curveball now.
All right.
Oh, jeez. Oh! That's wild!
Catch that. Nope. Oh, okay.
Oh! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh! Oh, there you go.
Oh! Oh! That's a catch!
There's no way he caught No way he just caught that.
Okay, we gotta do a tiebreaker now.
Do 2 balls, 1 each. Ah, that was pretty good.
The Sally was not. All right, so I gotta catch it.
You gotta catch this. All right, I'm gonna see if I can kick this straight over his head.
Oh no! Oh no!
Hey, that's work, brother.
Great job.
Made it hard for him.
He's devastated
Made it
now.
hard for him.
You know, I'm going to give them credit. They're actually fairly athletic. I don't think I could do that. Everything changed after Ottawa beat Toronto back on September the 7th. The Argos went on to win 4 of 5. Justin Hardy and the Red Blacks lost 5 in a row, only to win against the Tiger Cats to end the season. We're going to hear from Hardy right after this. So the Red Blacks offense red hot to start the season, but it's cooled off. They turned the ball over 22 times in their last 8 games, hoping this is now behind them and they can get back to their early form. Speaking of their offense, here's Matthew with Hardy.
Justin, I never miss an opportunity to talk to someone about fashion, so why was it important for the team to play really in what looks like a retro Ottawa Rough Riders jersey?
It's a mindset, coming in, first time being in the playoffs for a minute, got to have a mindset to go out there and dominate.
So much of this team, many aspects of this team have playoff experience, yourself going to a Super Bowl. Is there a difference between a team collectively getting to the playoffs for the first time or individuals having playoff experience and kind of breeding a culture?
It's a little bit different, having the guys that have been in the playoffs, kind of just teaching the young guys like, hey, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different time in the year, so we got to come ready to play.
I look at you, you look ready to play. How critical is that start going to be?
Very critical.
Thanks for this, Justin.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, the uniforms are fantastic. So comparing Justin Hardy's season to Mackay Polk, and Polk benefiting greatly with Kelly back in the lineup, 60% of his receiving yards coming once Chad returned. With more on Polk, and another offensive player to watch out for today, Davis and Milt.
Yeah, Kate, and the playoffs is all about big plays. So, Davis, let's talk about maybe the best 2 big play receivers in the CFL, Mackay Polk and Justin McGinnis. And I talked to head coach Ryan Dinwiddie, and I asked him, how was Polk able to turn around his season in these last 9 games? Of course, he mentioned the guy's just a natural talent, as Kate mentioned. Of course, Chad Kelly coming back. But it's also his understanding of how to create space and get open. And you look at this first place right here. The guy has speed, but DBs have speed also. So how do you call separation when you're going deep? Well, Mackay right here, he gives him that quick little stutter, that head and shoulder hitch, allows him to cause some separation, and Chad Kelly makes a great throw right into the gap.
I love how he sold that. You can see the little lean for an extra second, but sold it.
And this right here. Cover 0, the middle of the field is wide open. And a lot of guys will go straight to the middle of the field. Well, Polk understands that, no, he doesn't need to do that. He stays straight up the field. He allows the quarterback to throw him in the middle of the field, making that receiver adjust, making another big play. Chad Kelly with another great throw, Chad.
Another big play on the other side of the West. We're talking about Justin McGinnis. Now, the key to this game, I think, Sass plays more zone than anybody else in the league. So you're looking at VA's always looking for McGinnis because of his huge catch radius. It's behind those linebackers and in front of the safety, whoever the high defender is in that cover 4 they usually play. That is the key. Will that high defender break on the ball and make a play, or will they get McGinnis in that zone? Because look here, that gap right there, that area, almost all of his catches I watched during the year against Sass, this was where they went. Behind the backer, in front of the safety, the high player. The catch radius is what VA loves about McGinnis.
Yeah, 6'5" guy. You can't do that with a guy who's 5'11", 6 feet like myself.
And especially the quarterback, VA, shorter guy, he needs that tall receiver to see on the line. But look, the key to this game, I think the Riders come out and play man coverage. They have to get up on him. You'll see this. I don't think Revis is scared of his speed. He's sitting on the route. They believe they can cover him in man coverage. We'll see if they can. And that'll be key. They play a ton of zone.
Yeah.
But can they lock down this Lions receiving core? I think if they play zone, the Lions will have some success.
Yeah.
Can they beat him in man coverage?
Right. McGinnis ate him up in zone. You got to do something different.
I would play you in man coverage.
Chaz, please. You'll be going home. You'll be going home after that game, Chaz. You better shut up right there. Take it away. Take it away.
Milt, I'm going to wear Davis out if he's one-on-one with you. I'm telling you, right now, you guys talk about secondary and matchups. Let's talk about interior play. I'm looking at the Red Blacks. Early in the season, that was their calling card, was their defensive line and pressuring the quarterback. Whenever you went over to TD Place, you knew you're going to walk in and you're going to limp out because that defensive line getting everything after you. And I can tell you that this football team, they've got to get away out of themselves if they want to have a chance to beat Toronto. In fact, both these football teams were very undisciplined at the beginning of the football or throughout the entire season. And to me, that's one of those scenarios where you've got to fix it and you've got to be able to control the run game, because if you can't stop Toronto's run game, because they're going to get theirs, right? Absolutely. One of the best in the league. And this football team, they did a good job of it last week, and people calling it a meaningless game, but it wasn't for them. They got to continue to try to control and put themselves in good situations and second and long and forcing the issue. And if you can do that, maybe, just maybe, you can create a turnover early and have a quick start and put those bad memories back in Chad Kelly's mind. If the Ottawa Redblacks, that's the way you have to get it done. Be disciplined, try to control the line of scrimmage as best you can, and try to create a quick turnover. Lapo.
for defensive line, let's stay with the defensive line. I want to talk about the Riders' defensive line. Miles Brown, Caleb Saunders, and Micah Johnson have been spectacular this season in a number of ways. And for Suk Chung, Corey Woodruff, and Michael Couture, the interior offensive line, that's going to be a big challenge today. One, William Stanback in their 2 games averaged 2.5 yards per rush. That's not good enough. They're going to have to move these big bodies to run the football. Number 2, Micah has 6 sacks, tied for the lead in sacks on the team. And as you know, Maddie, a quarterback needs a depth of the pocket to throw. To step into these tough throws, downfield throws, you got to be able to step into them. They got to hold off. And then the biggest thing is playing in Saskatchewan, sold-out crowd. It is going to be loud. So you're going to have a non-vocal cadence. It's called the silent cadence, where everybody's got to be on the same page, and that's hard for the receivers to time up, hard for the offensive tackles to time up. So they're going to have to execute that to be successful today. That's what I'm kind of looking for. Hey, I normally, as a TV person now, I understand, normally I throw to Kate, and that would be a verbal cue. Well, now we're going to try a nonverbal cue. I'm going to go over it first. So we got a camera on Kate. If we get a camera on Kate and Davis, those 2 guys. Kate is our center, okay? And then our next player is our left guard is Davis Sanchez. So when Davis is going to turn around and look at us, as he looks at us, he's going to be looking, and he's going to be waiting to see when Maddie gives the signal. When Maddie gives the signal with his leg, Davis taps him, Kate takes it.
Taps him.
Taps me?
Taps Kate.
Tap you take it.
I
Boom.
tap Davis. Where's Milt?
I'm on the side.
I mean, I have a hard time being silent. So
I'm hurt.
A year ago, packed house at BMO Field saw a devastating loss. We'll see if they can have a better result today. Wynton McManus standing by.
We're not very coachable.
No, we're not. Couldn't ask for a better day in Toronto. A lot of Red Black fans making the trip as well, and I have good news for you, Ottawa fans. You were great against Toronto's defense this year, scoring 72 points in 2 games, but someone who hopes to reverse that trend, Wynton McManus. Here he is with Matt.
Wynton, let's talk about process and preparation. Before every game, I watch you look so keenly, maybe intensely, over at the opposition. On a game like this, what's going through your mind?
For me, that's just a time to get extra film. It's a time for me to, see their tendencies, see which way people like to do things, and, just to kind of build something in my mind to make me go out there and just a little bit hungrier.
Watch you guys in practice, flying around, executing. But what's the message going to be in the locker room, knowing that it's an East semifinal and how critical the playoffs are?
This is it. You only get this one chance right now. You got to go out, man. Don't hold anything back. Let it all out on the line, man, and let's go out. Don't save yourself. Do it for the man next to you.
Thank you, Wynton.
Get the job done. Thank you.
It's funny, Ches has had this thing in his mouth all day, and I've been concerned about it, but then I realized that he absolutely adores Wynton McManus, and yeah. I mean,
is that a hairpin? It's a hairpin. He doesn't have any hair.
Is that my bobby pin?
Right?
Oh.
It is.
Whoops.
That is.
And that was in there. That was in my hair.
I was trying to be cool, and I messed it up. Let's get to the second.
Yes. All right. You know what? Let's go with you, Milt Stiegel. Picks. Put you on the spot.
First game, Toronto. I think Chad Kelly is going to have the game of his life. I think Ottawa will play well, but I just don't think they have enough. Woo, that second game, man. Both of you guys are probably going with the Rough Riders.
Doing this all
I'm going with VA. I'm going with VA and the BC Lions. You know where I'm going.
Yeah, I do, Milt. I do. Hey, look, Ottawa on the road this year was 2-7. I think Toronto is looking to erase that bad memory from last year's East final. I think they get it done. And then I think Saskatchewan's a tough out. And I think the inconsistencies offensively for BC will rear its head. And I think Saskatchewan's defense will have a lot to do with that and taking Sask to the home team.
In the East, the best defense are the Argos. The best player in that game is Chad Kelly. I'm going with the Argos. The West, I'm a BC guy. So the reality is I'm not going against Rider Nation in Regina.
Okay. That's why I went with BC. I knew where both of you guys were. What about you, Kate?
Yeah, I got 10 seconds left. I'll make some picks. Why not? I'm going to take the Toronto Argonauts at home to win this one, and then later on, I'm not going to split it down the middle. I am also going with the BC Lions.
We talked about this, Kate. You said you are splitting it down the middle.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ottawa, everyone. It's the Ottawa Redblacks looking forward to playing against the Toronto Argonauts. This one high in the air, intercepted, and racing to the end zone. Touchdown, Redblacks. Kelly has to get it out, intercepted. Picked off again, touchdown, Redblacks.
A playoff preview between the Ottawa Redblacks and the Toronto Argonauts. And touchdown! Just like that. Open receiver, Mackay, home, touchdown.
CFL, first up, the Red Blacks are in Toronto to take on the Argonauts with a trip to Montreal on the line today, marking the first time since 1990 the two franchises have met in the playoffs. A huge crowd at BMO today as these two teams renew hostilities in the CFL postseason for the first time in 34 years.
Hey, you know what? Let's move. Hey, everybody, every snap, everything y'all got.
Regular season games are in the books. It's playoff time.
Looking to erase what happened in the Eastern Final a year ago when he threw 4 interceptions, Chad Kelly set to make his return back to the postseason at BMO Field. The Argos QB has only thrown 2 INTs over his last 5 starts, looking to lift his Argos to Montreal. On the other side, Drew Brown making his postseason debut as a starter, hoping he can carry his scorching play as of late. He threw for 845 yards with 7 TD passes in the last 2 games alone. You gotta love that momentum going into the postseason. And you have to love playoff football on TSN and on CTV. We've got the East semifinal, then we got the West semifinal. You got Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stegall. We are set for some key matchups, Chezzy.
Yeah, mine is the Toronto front four has the advantage with Flo and Serezna. I think they have the advantage this game. Tommy Condell, can he scheme some stuff up? Because when I look at the rosters, I think I said Toronto's defense has the advantage over Ottawa's offense. Can Tommy scheme some stuff up to win?
We mentioned the pregame real quickly. Ottawa's running attack. Where is it? You've got Addison and you've got Dedman in the backfield. To me, that tells spread offense, and it's going to come down to what Adeleke and D'Arcangelo McManus are able to do, I think, in a spread offense. I think you'll see a lot of six-pack like they did in 1990 when Danny Barrett was playing.
Right. Well, my matchup, it involves Deadman, but it's Deadman against the Dreadman, Janarian Grant. Both of these returners are special. That was pretty good right there.
Did you just think that?
I just thought of that. Both of these returners are special, and I can see one of them, maybe both of them, having a big return for a touchdown. So that's the matchup I'm looking at.
Is everyone as fired up as I am?
Oh,
I feel like all day I've had to contain my excitement. Like after 21 weeks of regular season to get to the postseason, and these matchups are so dynamite.
And since last year's playoff performance from Toronto, a lot of pressure, but also a lot of excitement.
Yeah, and you know what? That packed house at BMO Field, a lot of these fans back today. We will see, though, the Ottawa Red Blacks rolling with a little bit of momentum, taking on the Argos. We'll get you to BMO right after this. Of Sherwood Park, Alberta. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 Million touchdown to win. If the kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Sharon. Let's get you to BMO and join Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford.
All right, Kate, welcome to BMO Field in Toronto. Welcome to November, the biggest time of year in the Canadian Football League. It is the East Division semi-final between the Ottawa Red Blacks and Toronto Argonauts. And when you look at the starting quarterbacks for this game, only one playoff start in the CFL between them. That belonged to Chad Kelly, Dwayne, a year ago in the East Final, and you know he wants to erase that memory today.
Yeah, and I'm sure as much as it's not being mentioned by Chad Kelly or the Toronto Argonauts, this is very much about reversing his playoff reputation. That's how people see him, is the struggles against Montreal last season. Chad Kelly wants to show he's more the guy who is the most outstanding player, who led his team to a 16-2 record a year ago. As for Drew Brown, it may be his first career playoff start, but the fact is, this is a guy who has been to the Grey Cup every year as a Canadian Football League quarterback. He's learned his lessons well. He's an even-keel guy. Don't expect the stage to be too big for Drew Brown in this one.
Bob Dice, only in his second full year as Ottawa's head coach, but he's one of the longest-serving members of the Red Blacks, going back to 2016 when they won the Grey Cup in this very field. Brian Dinwiddie hosted a playoff game in all 4 years as the Argos head coach. The previous 3 were the East Division final. He, too, would like to erase the memory of losing to the Alouettes here a year ago. Devontae Dedmon came back into the Ottawa lineup 1 week ago against Hamilton. Critical player, especially on special teams, of course, and he is back there now. The Red Blacks in their old Ottawa Rough Rider black uniforms with the Argos in their powder blue, who won the toss, and they have deferred, so Ottawa to get the ball first. The second season in the Canadian Football League is about to begin. Off the foot of Lirim Hairolahu, the East Division semifinal is underway. Comes down off the hop. It is taken by Khalil Pimpleton. And Jack Kazar, the special teams tackles leader, tied for the lead in the CFL, in on that one. Here comes Drew Brown.
Yeah, as mentioned, first career playoff start for Drew Brown. The former Winnipeg Blue Bomber came over in free agency, has provided stability, leadership at that quarterback position for the Ottawa Red Blacks, and now looks to take the next step with this team.
A big contrast in these offenses running the football. Braylon Addison, a receiver, will start at running back. While the Argos love to pound the ball, the Red Blacks, mostly a passing team. We'll see that approach today here, and throwing for the first time, swinging it out to Justin Hardy. Second in the Canadian Football League to Justin McInnes in receiving yards, and Ottawa's nominee is their most outstanding player.
We'll take a look at the rest of this offense. Jacob Ruby, the veteran, gets the start at left tackle. Dino Boyd on the 6-game injured list. He is done for the season. As mentioned, Justin Hardy, the number 2 receiver in the Canadian Football League this season. In his last 4 games played, he's gone over 100 yards receiving in each of them.
Out of East Carolina, Justin Hardy picked up 2. Call it 1 and a 2nd and 9 here for Brown to throw to the right. And it is caught, and a first down. Deshaun Amos closing in there on Dominic Rhymes when Rhymes comes up with the ball. And the Red Blacks move up the field.
Yeah, nice concentration here by Rhymes out on that wide side of the field. Long throw with Amos closing. Rhymes stays with it, able to haul it in for the first down. Big conversion, good start for Ottawa.
Rhymes went over 1,000 yards for the 3rd time in his career. He first did it in his first go-round with Ottawa back in 2019. A 1st and 10 at the Red Blacks 47. Looking for a better start in this game. And Brown is taken down. The sack. It is veteran Robbie Smith with the pressure there, and a 2nd down and long coming up for the Red Blacks.
We'll take a look at the rest of that Toronto Argonaut defense. Dominant defensive tackle tandem in Jake Serezna and Ralph Hawley. 8 sacks apiece this season for them. Winton McManus, most experienced member in that linebacking core. Darkangelo and Adeleke, both new to that group this season. Benji Franklin led all Canadian Football League players in pass breakups this year from his boundary corner spot.
Loss of a couple of yards after that sack, so Brown in the 2nd and long. It is caught inside the 50 and down to the Argo 45, and another first down through the air. 2nd catch of the afternoon for Justin Hardy.
Ottawa 2 for 2. Converting in these 2nd and long situations. Justin Hardy able to find a gap in that coverage, just sits it down. Drew Brown throws a strike. Again, the start so important for Ottawa in this ball game, given how the season series has gone between these 2 teams.
The Argos 2 weeks ago scored in their first 4 possessions. There's another one to Dedmon. They get him in space. Devontae Dedmon looks like another first down for the Red Blacks. That's how they want to use that talent, known for his special teams, his return prowess, but they get him there with a little bit of room, and he picks up another first.
Yeah, and Devontae Dedmon is listed on the depth chart as a running back. He and Braylon Addison, both very versatile, kind of unique skill set type guys that offer Ottawa a chance to do some different things offensively here today.
They're down to the Argo 32 in scoring range now in a 1st and 10. Short pass again to Dedmon, again to the right. And once again, after the catch, he works his way up to another Red Black first down, an impressive opening drive here for Ottawa.
One of the keys to these kinds of plays, and we've seen a couple of them now, Dedmon catching the ball out in the flat. He's going to free release from the backfield on the left side of your screen. Watch the job that Dominique Grimes, Jalen Acklin are doing out in front, blocking to help Dedmon pick up another Ottawa first down.
That one's intended for Khalil Pimpleton, and it falls incomplete. So a 2nd and 10 is coming up. Pimpleton, Ottawa's nominee for Rookie of the Year, and really only played barely half of the season, but certainly a force as a receiver and also in the return game.
There on the far side, you see Tommy Condell, Ottawa's offensive coordinator. Significant changes, as mentioned, to his offensive lineup in the final weeks of the season.
2nd and 10 inside the Argo 20 for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Brown to pass again. It is caught. Braylon Addison with his first catch as he gets it down closer to the 10. And could be a 3rd and short coming up here for Ottawa, about a foot away.
Just a little check down there for Addison. We're seeing him moving around, loosening up from the formation a lot. As Brown stays in offensively here, no one behind him.
3rd down, Brown keeps, pushes it left, and it looks like he has enough for another Ottawa first down to make it a 1st and goal coming up here as they sort this one out. Didn't need much.
Loses his lid on that one. But here you'll see pretty good push on the left side of that offensive line. Gets in behind the All-Star, East Division All-Star guard, Drew Desjardins. Nice movement there from he and Jacob Ruby.
Now they're bringing the sticks in based on where the yard markers were before. It looked like they would have enough to get it, but it looks like a close measurement coming up here. And what a point this would be for the Argo defense. They stretch them out. 1st and goal, REDBLACKS. Drew Brown, 6 of 7. Throwing the ball a lot in this opening possession. As you know, Ottawa will. 10th play of the drive coming up here from the Argo 9. REDBLACKS know they need a good start against this Toronto team. Brown inside the 5 and dropped. Intended there for the rookie Nick Martner. Drafted 2nd overall in 2024, but can't hang on and would have been inside the 5.
Yeah, it just looked like this one handcuffed Martner a little bit as he's going to the turf to get it. Trying to get his hands in position to keep that one from getting into the pads where it takes that hard bounce. Just unable to adjust to that one.
Slams a hand to the turf. 2nd and goal coming up. Empty backfield. Brown under pressure. Gets away. Derek Parrish chasing. And it hits the turf before Jalen Acklin in the end zone. So in that 1st and goal, they had 2 plays to reach it. They could not. So it's a 3rd down coming up. And Lewis Ward will come on to see if the REDBLACKS can get the first points of this game.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jalen Acklin was the primary receiver on this one. It was a bit of a double move and out and a quick up. Brown had him early, but because of pressure, it takes the quarterback out of his rhythm. Tried to get it to him late, but by that time, wasn't able to get a good throw. So Ottawa's 2nd down success came to an end.
So that from the 16, and the REDBLACKS do get the first points of this game. 3-0 on that field goal after an impressive drive by Ottawa. Chad Kelly 2 weeks ago engineered 4 touchdown drives in their first 4 possessions. Looking for a big start for the Argo offense coming up. A year ago in the Eastern Final, Chad Kelly's first playoff start. And Marc-Antoine Dequoy picked him up in the Argos opening drive took it in for a touchdown. One of 4 interceptions thrown. Cabianento had another one for a pick 6 and a nightmare day for Chad Kelly, his last playoff game.
Yeah, and this, again, the Argos don't talk about last year. This is a new season, new situation for them. But the fact is, for Chad Kelly, he wants to erase that memory.
And he swings it out to Mackay Polk, one of the great newcomers for the Argos. 10th in the CFL in receiving yards, 2nd among Canadian Football League rookies.
And we take a look at the Toronto Argonauts offense. Both guards, Dylan Giffen on the left, Anthony Vandal on the right, making their first career playoff starts in this ballgame against a couple experienced Ottawa D tackles. You mentioned Mackay Polk, terrific season for him. Over 100 yards in both games against Ottawa this season.
On the second down, handing off Kadeem Carey. Ottawa concentrating on the rush defense, which was in a rough spot really 2 weeks ago when the Argos ran all over them, but good stop there to force a 2-and-out for the Argos.
And the way the Argos controlled the ball, particularly through the first 3 quarters of the last regular season meeting between these two teams, there'll certainly be some emphasis on stopping the run for the Ottawa defenses. That'll be one of their keys to getting off the field, quite frankly.
And they do that time, so it's John Haggerty in to punt it away. His first punt against the REDBLACKS 2 weeks ago wasn't until late in the first half. With Dedman and Pimpleton back for it. Taken by Dedman. Across the 25 and out of bounds. Drew Brown 6 for 9 on his opening drive for 69 yards. Led them down to a 1st and goal, and they settled for a field goal. But the REDBLACKS in this playoff game have the 3-0 lead. First year as a CFL starter and first year in Ottawa. And Drew Brown, a record of 8-6-1 as a starter, but just shy of 4,000. And you see, it's the most passing yards single season in Ottawa football history.
Ottawa football history.
Includes Russ Jackson in the old Rough Rider days.
Yeah, terrific start to his REDBLACKS career for Drew Brown. Missed a couple of games due to injuries, so just putting that into perspective, the job he's done in helping turn things around in the nation's capital.
All 3 REDBLACKS quarterbacks. You saw Henry Burris and Trevor Harris too. Well, they're running the ball. And a good carry there by Braylon Addison. A receiver moved into the backfield, and good pickup there on first down for the REDBLACKS. Drew Brown's family here as well today. His mother Terry, his wife Megan, his sister Christy as well. Of course, Drew lost his father Dave in early July 2023. Big moment for the Brown family to watch Drew in his first CFL playoff start. And a flag comes out on that 2nd down and short for the REDBLACKS.
Defensive offside. Toronto number 95. 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
It's Jordan Williams in his first year in the CFL called. Inserted into the Toronto lineup after it was confirmed that DeMonte Coxie is hurt. And as a receiver, though, in the roster juggling, Williams ends up getting into the game. And it's a first down on the penalty as well for the REDBLACKS at the Ottawa 41 with a 3-point lead. Second possession. Brown with time. Soft toss over the middle. It is complete. And Dominic Rhymes has it and takes it out of bounds. Well, Drew Brown, big game football experience in college. This was the Hawaii Bowl back in 2016 against Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, finished up his college career at Oklahoma State, but Drew Brown had been the starter at the University of Hawaii prior to that. Obviously, big moment for him. No doubt, different level, but drawing on some of his experience in college here today.
And drawing on CFL experience, backing up Zach Collaros the last couple of years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and then signing on this year as a free agent with Ottawa. Flea flicker time. Back to Brown, looking deep. And the coverage is there for Hardy. Wanted a flag and got one. Benji Franklin, one of the 2 Argos in coverage on Hardy, and a late flag does come out for interference.
Yeah, initially.
Defensive pass interference. Toronto number 23. The ball will be placed pass where the infraction occurred. First down.
Justin Hardy at the bottom of your screen. See Addison take the handoff, flip it back. I thought the coverage was pretty good. Benji Franklin stayed in good position, didn't really bite on the run fake, but just got a little too handsy with the receiver, and that's the call.
The big first down to the Argo 30, taking the handoff and dumping it out to Hardy. And he cuts it back and picks up a few yards there, but that was a 32-yard pickup on the interference penalty to get the Red Blacks back in scoring position in Argo territory.
A lot of talk in the lead up to this game about the difference between these two teams in terms of their respective run games, and obviously a different look for Ottawa with Braylon Addison at the running back spot. And what we're seeing early is just a different approach to the high percentage of a traditional run game, with some of the passes we're seeing to Hardy and to Dedmon, to Braylon Addison as well. Just short, quick passes that are an extension of the run game as opposed to handoff.
2nd and 7. It's caught, it's Addison, and down closer to the 20. That'll be close to another first down. You're right. We talked to Drew Brown about that and just how important is it to run the football in the CFL. And it depends on the skill set of your players, and this is the way they're using them here, even out of the backfield.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to watch, even just the pre-snap motion.
Looks like another first down on that keeper by Drew Brown.
Because of the personnel that Ottawa is using, as mentioned, you can have Braylon Addison on the field as a running back or as a slot. You can have Devontae Dedmon, same thing. He can be the running back, he can be a wide receiver. So the challenge for Toronto defensively is that Ottawa can be in a full receiver 2-back set. They could be in a 5 receiver 1-back set. They could go empty, full spread with 6 receivers with the exact same personnel on the field.
Right now, they have Addison back there and Dedmon. And Dedmon gets the ball, and he's going nowhere. They have that one stuck right at the 20, pushing Devontae Dedmon back. Valerian Rimolade. His second year with the Argos. Part of that great defense last year with Toronto, helping the Argos to a 16-2 record.
And there you see the co-defensive coordinators. The Toronto Argonauts, Kevin Iben, longtime Argo linebacker, and William Fields, defensive back. Broke into the league with Calgary, spent some time in Winnipeg as well.
Those two moving up in those positions to replace Corey Mace, who went on to become the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who has a big game today later. 2nd and 11, throwing again inside the 10, Hardy, first down inside the 5. Another 1st and goal coming up here for the Red Blacks.
Justin Hardy working out of the slot into the boundary. Time Braylon Addison loosens up as if it's going to be trips into the boundary, comes back in. There's a running back part of the protection scheme there. The check release for him. The strike to Justin Hardy sets the Red Blacks up in close.
And a much different start to this game than the one 2 weeks ago. Dustin Crum in at quarterback in the 1st and goal. Takes the handoff, keeps himself. Running QB, picks up about a yard there. 2nd down and goal coming up.
And it wouldn't be surprising at all, again, given the sort of running back by committee and the creativity involved, to see an expanded package involving Dustin Crum in this one as well. Terrific rushing quarterback, led to all CFL quarterbacks in rush yards in 2023.
Back-to-back 11-play drives here for Ottawa. The 11th one of this one coming up. You saw the difference in plays. A very different start, where the Argos, as said last week or 2 weeks ago, scored in their first 4 possessions. End zone look. Touchdown!
Wow.
Oh, what a catch by Braylon Addison. He was well covered. He went up for it. And the Red Blacks setting a very different tone so far in this playoff game.
Complete reversal, as you said, of that game 2 weeks ago, where the Argos dominated the time of possession. Braylon Addison on the left side. actually picks that one off the nameplate of Royce Metier, who was in coverage. Nice adjustment to the ball there by the veteran Braylon Addison in his 6th CFL season.
With Metier right there with him. Addison and a big touchdown and a 10-point lead in back-to-back drives of 11 plays each. First the field goal, then this. Touchdown Addison. REDBLACKS on top.
There's the man of the moment, Braylon Addison. With the game's first touchdown, he's going to motion out of the backfield, work towards the corner, the free safety. Royce Metier is following him. It looks at the tail end of this one. Ball's in the air. As Metier gets his head around in time. But the ball actually thrown behind the defender as you see Addison adjust. Reach over top to make the grab.
In his 6th year out of Oregon, started his CFL career with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just like Jalen Ackland is shaking his hand, but what a big moment for him. And this touchdown for Ottawa as Richie Leone kicks it off. Goes to Denarian Grant inside the 20. And he gets up across the 40. So for Tommy Condell, Drew Brown, and the way that they've been using all their offensive weapons so far, assertive, much different than 2 weeks ago for the REDBLACKS offense in a 10-0 Ottawa lead. A year ago, Adarius Pickett starred with the Argos. Then he signed on with the REDBLACKS. And over a month ago, this injury early against Hamilton ended Adarius Pickett's season with the Achilles injury. Wishing he could be in this game today to help the REDBLACKS out. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti. Matthew?
Yeah, no doubt, Rod, that Adarius Pickett would want to be playing today, but I got to tell you, he's been flexing with some really, really cool swag on the sidelines. But knowing the energy of this team, that fast start, what kind of leadership role have you tried to play to get your team ready for this week? I know you've been DJing at practice, too.
Yeah, just making sure that I'm bringing the same energy that I was bringing on the field. That's why the DJ thing started, right? I want to be the party starter at all times, no matter what I'm doing. But it's important for them just to feel my energy, feel my presence. And they've been doing a hell of a job this week. Hell of a job of week at practice. Energy's been high, the playoff game, and we're ready to play today.
It looked really jittery on the sidelines. I saw Lorenzo Malden and Darius Bladdock kind of almost looked like they were going to fight each other. They were getting ready for this game. Take us through the pulse of what this team is feeling right now, especially being up 10.
It's pretty unexplainable right now. I mean, the energy in the locker room, we felt it. It's the playoffs. We're ready to have some fun. We're ready to dominate today. And I mean, as of right now, that's exactly what we're doing.
Thanks, Darius. Wish you were out there.
Thank you. I wish I was, too.
You can be sure the REDBLACKS wish that, too. And, hey, just because he can't play doesn't mean he can't keep starting the party. Adarius Pickett. First down Argos on that pass to Kevin Mittell. Another one. Another catch, too. Mackay Pope down at the REDBLACKS 35. So Chad Kelly and the Argonaut offense in response down 10, working quickly down the field.
Yeah, tremendous response here by the Argonauts. And a beautiful throw here from Chad Kelly. Nice placement to his leading receiver, Mackay Polk. Those two really catching fire down the stretch this season.
Polk's numbers really jumping off the page in the last 6 games. Back to the ground, Kadeem Carey trying to push it down closer to the 30.
We mentioned earlier the Argos with a pair of guys with 8 sacks. Lorenzo Malden and Mike Wakefield for Ottawa also in that 5-way tie for the league lead with 8 sacks. Bennett Williams sat out last week, but he draws in place of the injured Adarius Pickett at that nickel linebacker spot. Keep an eye on Damon Webb at the boundary half. 2 pick sixes for him off Chad Kelly when these two teams met in September.
And there was a holding penalty on the left guard, Dylan Giffen, pushing the Argos back to the Ottawa 44 in a 1st and 20. Kelly running a draw to Deontay McMahon, finds some room. Money Hunter, the safety, coming in to help out with the tackle, and Javon Santos Knox. Still a 2nd and long coming up here for Toronto.
Santos Knox had a stint on the 6-game injured list, but healthy for the stretch run, certainly easing some of the pain of the loss of Adarius Pickett as he provides some leadership and energy on that defense.
He was missing for about a 2-month stretch. 2nd and 13 to the right, incomplete. 3rd down coming up. Late here in the first quarter, the intended target, David Unger.
Yeah, and it looked like Kelly and Unger maybe got their signals crossed a little bit on that one. Ryan Dinwiddie looking to get things clarified on the sidelines.
And so Lirim Hajrullahu, in his first year back in the CFL, back with the Argos, where he won a Grey Cup in 2017. He was 55 of 61, the longest of 51. This one will be put down by John Haggerty inside the 44 for Hajrullahu. For the Argos' first points of the game, and he gets it. Field goal Toronto, and that is quarter time. So it does end on a positive note for the Argos with points on the board. But the Red Blacks serving notice this will be a much different game than the one Toronto dominated through 3 quarters 2 weeks ago here at BMO Field. After 10-3 Ottawa. At this point 2 weeks ago, the Argos led by 3 touchdowns, about to make it 4. Red Blacks offense staying on the field, Dwayne, much different so far in a 10-3 lead.
Yeah, and that time of possession, obviously the biggest turnaround from the last meeting between these two teams. We remember joking after that when the Argos had won the time of possession battle. By the time the 3rd quarter was over, that's how one-sided it was. They were dominating with the running game, holding onto the ball. Again, people wondered whether Ottawa, without a traditional run game, so to speak, would be able to sort of even out that time of possession, stay on the field, keep the Argo defense out there for extended periods. But they've demonstrated with their high percentage passing game, some creativity offensively, that so far they have been able to accomplish just that.
Well, this is possession number 3, 2 11-play drives. Brown is 11 of 14, including a lot of those short passes you talked about. Working for Ottawa, but a pump fake, and he is sacked again. This time it's Jordan Williams. The Argo rookie coming in, getting a chance to play in this game and getting the sack there, and a big loss for Ottawa.
Yeah, Jordan Williams, number 95, getting in on that D-line rotation. And there alongside Ralph Hawley. Nice swim over top there. Puts the right guard, Dariusz Bladek, in a tough position.
Not to be confused with former national linebacker Jordan Williams, who retired after last season and had been with the Argos. 2nd and 20. And dumping it over, coming across is Pimpleton. Again, trying to get these speedy, athletic receivers in space, see what they can do after. But that time, not nearly enough. Still a 3rd and 10 coming up. Get back to the original line of scrimmage. And Richie Leone will come on to punt it away.
Argos at least stemming some of that Ottawa momentum. The good offensive drive that put 3 points on the board. Followed up by this 2-and-out provided by the defense. We'll see what Janarian Grant can do here on special teams.
Leone standing at his 25. Janarian Grant standing at his 25. And he gets it just outside that, and he backtracks to go to the right. Looking to find the edge, and he is taken down just over the 30. Well, Gray presents the next chapter in the Batman saga, starring Academy Award nominee Colin Farrell, the Penguin. An HBO original limited series is streaming now, only on Crave. Started watching this, Mr. Ford.
You started watching?
2 thumbs up so far.
Yeah, I have heard rave reviews from you and our statistician today, John Perlberg. Big fan of the Penguin.
Burley likes it. First and 10 at the Argo 32. The last time they had the ball. Late in the first quarter, drove down and got in range for a Lirim Hajrullahu field goal. But so far, on both sides of the ball, it's been a different story compared to that last meeting. Because both of the regular season meetings were one-sided in the first half. The one in Ottawa in Week 14. At halftime, the Red Blacks led 31-3. Trying to run, and again, one big difference you're noticing so far is the run defense for the Red Blacks. Well, DeMonte Coxey, one of their top receivers, and suffered just a terrible knee injury last week against the Edmonton Elks.
Well, there you can see that leg getting whipped around. Coxey been practicing, worked out prior to this game. Game time decision. Argos deciding to hold him out of this one. He's not quite there.
2nd and 9. Oh, Kelly's hit hard. Sacked. Lorenzo Malden coming in. Not only took Kelly down, but he really decked him. And Kelly taking a knee again, needing some time before he does get up to walk off the field.
Malden on the right side of your screen. There's a bust in that protection scheme.
And the
some miscommunication. Guy who leads the league in QB pressures comes through unblocked, pops the ball loose, and Bennett Williams with the recovery.
Not only the sack, but you see that ball come loose. Forcing a fumble is Malden. Ottawa ball in the Argo zone with a 10-3 lead.
There's the man of the moment. Lorenzo Malden comes up big. Left side of your screen. Dejan Allen, the right tackle, ended up not blocking anyone on that play. Started off fanning out and then realized too late that Malden was his guy, couldn't bounce back in. You saw Chad Kelly looking a little irked, eyeing up that O-line as he went back to the bench, making sure they get things straight.
Now the Toronto 23 Red Blacks and Drew Brown, he steps up, being chased, looks to the end zone, nearly intercepted. Deshaun Amos, who leads the Argos in interceptions, nearly had one there in the end zone to snuff out that Ottawa drive. And he knows it.
Yeah, Amos and Metier both back there, thinking they might have had a shot at this ball. Rare bad decision for Drew Brown, or he just didn't get enough on the ball as Jalen Acklin had some room in behind those two defenders. Throw is short. Ottawa lucky to avoid the turnover there.
Metier might have had a shot at it with Amos deflecting it in front of him. 2nd and 10 at the 23, and it's whistled down before the snap of the football, and a flag comes out.
Down violation, Ottawa number 3. This is a 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
As announced by the referee Andre Proulx, as it goes back to the Argo 28 now for 2nd and long.
Well, we've already got a bit of a sense of what both of these two defensive lines can do, particularly when you get into the more obvious pass situations.
4-man rush. It's complete. It's Nick Marner inside the 15. Puts his head down, and he gets close to the 10, and it looks like a first down for the Red Blacks on that 2nd and long conversion.
A nice effort here by big Nick Marner after the catch. A lot of room underneath there. Big target, 6'6", just coming on the under route from the wide side of the field.
Gets it down to the Argo 12. Red Blacks have the lead, looking for more after the turnover. The toss and the reverse. The Pimpleton finds the edge, but not much more. And he keeps his feet. He's still trying, but the Argos do have him swarmed. Not much of a pickup there. In fact, a loss of about a foot or two for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, trying to get one of their fastest players out in space on the wide side of the field. But good disciplined defensive play here by the Argos not to be fooled. Get all the flow going to the right. Bring Pimpleton back the other way. But Deshaun Amos, the Argos nominee as most outstanding defensive player. there to make a play on it.
Dustin Crum is out. Drew Brown back in. He's got lots of time all day running around and then going to the right, and he was targeting Addison. And a late flag does come out after that one goes incomplete.
I wonder if this may be illegal participation.
Illegal participation, Ottawa number 0. He went out of bounds on his own and was the first player to touch the football. That penalty's declined. Third down.
So field goal situation again for the Red Blacks. All of this coming after the turnover. Lorenzo Malden hitting Chad Kelly, who coughed up the ball, and Bennett Williams recovered it. But the Argo defense doesn't let them get much further than that, and so they'll go for 3 and see if they can restore their 10-point lead. Lewis Ward, 1 for 1. His first taste of playoff action since the 2018 breakup, his rookie year. Put down by Richie Leone and put through by Ward. A 20-yard field goal, and again a 10-point spread as Ottawa leads this one 13-3. Kadeem Carey started his career in Calgary, enjoying a great first year with the Argos. More on him coming up. East semifinal. Great first year in double blue for Kadeem Carey, 3rd in the CFL in rushing yards behind Brady Oliveira and William Stanback. With more, let's send it back to Matthew.
Yeah, Rod, and it's the first time in his CFL career that Kadeem Carey has played in all 18 games, and it was a 1-year contract with the Toronto Argonauts. The Argos thought they might be taking a risk, but Kadeem Carey knew he had all the power, because if you look on his neck, well, it's a multicolored necklace that his daughter Kiara, Kiki for short, gave her father just before the season. And I asked him the power of that necklace, and he said, "It's kept me safe all season long."
Big play, Mackay Polk. Taken off. Gone for the Argo touchdown. And for Argo fans, that's more like it. And more of what we saw a couple of weeks ago between these two teams here. One big play. And the Argos, an extra point away from getting back to within a field goal.
Yeah, and this one's not going to do much to help them in terms of that time of possession battle with that quick strike, but no doubt happy to take it on the scoreboard. Mackay Polk, who has been red hot the final third of the season, is wide open. Down that seam, Chad Kelly, always happy to take a shot at the big play. Comes through with the throw on that one.
Pyrolau with the extra point. And that has been typical of this Argo offense. They showed signs of that, of course, last year as well, that they can strike quickly with big plays, and they certainly do there to get right back in this 70-yard touchdown catch. Chad Kelly to Mackay Polk.
Watch Polk working out of the slot here. Halfback kind of sits as he's looking into the formation. And then gets caught scrambling, trying to get back. Money Hunter, the safety's not able to get all the way over there. As Polk reels it in and takes it to the house.
Mackay Polk, first year out of Mississippi State, second in receiving yards in the CFL among rookies behind Ontario Wilson of Winnipeg, and really gelling since Kelly's return, especially the last 5-6 games of the regular season. And by the way, Dwayne, a cousin of Adarius Pickett.
Yes.
Both growing up in the Bay Area in California. Pickett, they went to the same high school. Pickett about 5 years older than Polk, but enjoying the moment in the playoffs while his cousin is not able to play. And a touchdown pass for Chad Kelly.
Mackay Polk has just gotten better and better every week, quite frankly, over the course of his rookie season here in the Canadian Football League. Certainly following in the footsteps of his cousin Adarius Pickett, a star in this league.
3 catches, 101 yards, and the 2 other games against the Red Blacks, he had 104 and 105. Goes over 100 again against Ottawa. And you look at since week 14, when he had 7 catches for 105. You look at the most receiving yards since then, and he leads the way ahead of Stephen Dunbar and Kenny Lawler, Rhymes and Hardy as well.
Yeah, healthy margin there, as you see, almost 100 yards more than Stephen Dunbar for Mackay Polk in that stretch. Became the Argos' leading receiver, their nominee as most outstanding rookie this season. Ironically, in his NFL journey prior to coming north, actually crossed paths with Khalil Pimpleton and Shamar Bridges, 2 other most outstanding rookie nominees in the East.
He and Bridges were in training camp with the Baltimore Ravens together. Both outstanding rookie receivers, as is Pimpleton, coming in the CFL 24. So Ottawa football, their lead down to 3 now. Second down coming up. Pimpleton broke out in a big way in Edmonton. A 70-yard touchdown in that game against the Elks. And valuable kick returner as well. Well, Vontae Dedmon was hurt. So the influx of talent in the CFL. Those 3 names alone, mentioning Bridges, season cut short, but outstanding rookie receiver with Hamilton. Brown throwing, caught, first down, and more for Braylon Addison inside the Argo 45. So after that big play by Toronto, REDBLACKS knowing the importance of answering back and not just going 2 and out.
Yeah, another nice adjustment to the football. We talked about the one on his touchdown catch by Braylon Addison. Makes that one look easy. The twirling in midair to reel in that ball, thrown a little bit behind him. Another big second down conversion for his team.
The first playoff meeting between Ottawa and Toronto at the CFL since 1990. Got a good one going here at 13-10. REDBLACKS leading as that one is blown dead.
Illegal procedure. Ottawa number 61. 5-yard penalty.
We'll put him 5 yards further back. Braylon Addison's mentioned starting in Hamilton, a great year. Great compliment to Brandon Speedy Banks with the Ticats back in 2019.
Yeah, fantastic year for him. A guy who actually broke into the Canadian Football League with the Toronto Argonauts. Couldn't crack their roster, was released, went on to become a star in Hamilton. Battled injuries a little bit the last couple of years, but playing a big role here.
We'd like to welcome viewers from TSN 5 and watching now canceled F1 qualifying. Rod Smith, Wayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti. Here is the CFL's Eastern semifinal. The Ottawa REDBLACKS with a much better start against the Argos in this game. We just saw a reception for Braylon Addison on the screen. He's had a couple of big plays to get them down inside the Argo 30. And a 1st and 10. Ottawa's offense much different in the first half than it was against the Argos the last time they met 2 weeks ago here at BMO Field. Drew Brown, the Ottawa quarterback in his first year as a CFL starter, taking the handoff, rolling to the right, completing it to Khalil Pimpleton, who's trying to break more inside the 25 after a pickup of about 3 yards. The second down coming up, Royce Metier in on the tackle.
Yeah, Ottawa again off play action, trying to get the ball to Pimpleton in space. Delacaye and Metier rallying to the football to make the play.
The Argos leader in tackles. Out of the University of Guelph, started his career in Calgary, Royce Metier. On a 2nd and 6 at the Argo 23. After giving up that quick touchdown to Toronto, the REDBLACKS coming right back at a 4-man rush, throwing to the right. It is caught inside the 20, and that is the fullback, Anthony Gosselin, right near the first down marker for Ottawa. It is indeed a first down.
Gosselin loosening up from the formation there. Just a quick out. See the linebacker D'Arcangelo sitting inside, leaving Gosselin a little bit of space to operate.
A rare catch for Gosselin, but a big one there and a first down. Handing off to Addison, and he is tackled by Isaac D'Arcangelo, the weak side linebacker, after a pickup of a couple of yards. And a running play for the running back, Braylon Addison.
As you see, Isaac D'Arcangelo tracking that one down. A guy who's been a nice find for Toronto this season, with injuries to Jonathan Jones and Fraser Sopik, both of whom are veterans who had seen time at that weak side linebacker spot. Both currently on the injured list. D'Arcangelo has been productive in their absence.
Down to the Toronto 15. Red Blacks. Brown caught. Pimpleton and Metier in on the tackle again as he gets it down to the 10. It'll be shy of a first down by a couple of yards. And a third down coming up here for Ottawa.
Yeah, big series there for Royce Metier. You're going to see Metier in the middle of the field. He's going to pick up Pimpleton, who's coming from the far side of the field on that under route. Nice adjustment by him to wrap up a slippery player in space, Tommy Condell. Wishing they just had another foot or two to try and get Pimpleton free.
Instead, they settle for a field goal again as Lewis Ward goes 3 for 3. So they do answer after that quick Argo touchdown, going down for a field goal. Ottawa hanging on to that lead. East Division semifinal at BMO Field in Toronto. I mentioned that Formula One qualifying had to be canceled today, but we've got the race coming up tomorrow. Sao Paulo Grand Prix. You can tune in tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific on TSN. With a beautiful look at BMO Field, right on Lake Ontario, home of the Argos since 2016. Memorable year for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. This is where they won their one and only Grey Cup. Coming into the league, and that's Kevin Mittal with another good run after the catch for the rookie. Mittal, drafted 5th overall by the Argos in 2024.
Yeah, getting a good look at a pair of first-round receivers in this ball game. Nick Mardner for Ottawa, the number 2 overall pick, has already been active in this one. Kevin Mittal out of Laval.
Look at the difference between, time of possession compared to their game. It was completely reversed a couple weeks ago. Ottawa dominating in that stat and leading this game. But back come the Argos. Caught. Touchdown. Tavares Daniels. That offense doesn't need to possess.
Yeah, I was going to say the Argos don't care about those time of possession stats. Just look at the scoreboard. Big play team. Showing they can get it done in different ways. It was a dominant run game, kept Ottawa's defense on the field for extended periods 2 weeks ago, and now it's the quick strikes attacking that seam again. This time Tavares Daniels with the major.
Tying the game and the point after by Hiralahu. Give the Argos their first lead of this 2024 East semi-final. A couple of big passes by Chad Kelly, going for touchdowns. First Mackay Polk and now Tavares Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels is going to emerge as the number 2 receiver towards the top of your screen. Inside man. He and David Unger both start off on vertical releases. In the corner, Brandon Dandridge got held close to the line of scrimmage with the route by Unger. Damon Webb kind of sat down in the flat as Daniels went deep. Kelly finds him for the Argos' second big play touchdown.
Says it all for Ottawa REDBLACKS and coach Tommy Condell. Daniels, in his 8th year at Notre Dame, started with Calgary Rookie of the Year in 2016. Later went to Edmonton. This is his 4th year in Toronto and over 1,000 yards receiving last year, limited to 622 in the regular season this year. But another big playoff touchdown. Daniels, shorter kick down at the 30. Gosselin has it, and he is tackled by Jack Cassar, who is the special teams tackles leader along with A.J. Allen of Saskatchewan this year.
And the Argos on special teams on their kickoffs, they've gone for that sort of moonshot kick, a high, shorter kickoff every time. They don't want to give Dedmon or Pimpleton a chance to handle the ball. So put it up high so your coverage team has a chance to get back there, not quite as deep. And you're much happier with Anthony Gosselin, some of the guys who are usually blocking, being the ones handling it instead of the threat of kicking it deep to the dangerous Dedmon and Pimpleton.
And Ottawa only gets it back to the 34, so all things considered, that strategy pays off on that kick by Hiralato. The 34, the Redblacks, trailing for the first time in this game. 17-16 Toronto, late first half. It's Brown. Another short pass to Addison. Turns it up, gets up around the 40, and he's being wrestling down by Wynton McManus as the 3-minute warning is issued. And a 2nd and short coming up here for the Ottawa Redblacks. Brilliant catch by Addison. And later the Argos had a couple as well. It's just a 1-point game. Redblacks certainly different than 2 weeks ago against the Argos, but it's still a Toronto lead.
A dynamite halftime coming up because this is a dynamite football game for the Toronto Argonauts. I mean, they've had the football 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Redblacks 21-33, but the Argos up by 1, all about the big plays. Who doesn't love playoff football?
There it is.
Yeah, Kate, just when we're hyping up time of possession, the Argos get those 2 quick touchdowns. Mackay Pope 70 yards. Tavares Daniels 41 yards. They lead by a point late in the half. Drew Brown, and with Benji Franklin all over Khalil Pimpleton. Pimpleton does make the catch and pick up an Ottawa first down.
Yeah, tight coverage on the play. Pimpleton do a nice job to get his hands on that football. Good strong catch with Franklin trying to pull the arms apart and pop that ball free.
Get it up to the Ottawa 48, and a big possession here late in the half for the Redblacks. The offense is trying to keep it off the field and keep it out of the hands of Chad Kelly, who's had the hot hand right now. Brown scrambling around, gets rid of it, and coming back to the ball is Pimpleton, shy of a first down, but it will set up a 2nd and short for Ottawa across midfield.
Yeah, solid first down pickup there for Ottawa. Drew Brown getting on the move, using his legs to extend the play. Nice job by Pimpleton making himself available to his quarterback on the scramble.
Another completion for Brown. He is 21 of 26 for 205 yards and a touchdown to Braylon Addison. Productive first half for Brown and the Ottawa offense. Just inside the Argos zone of the Toronto 54. 2nd down, handing off. That's Addison, and he had to get up just a couple of yards. It looks like he has enough for another Ottawa first down. Indeed he does as the sticks move.
Take a look at the blocking up front. The fullback Gosselin is a tight end on the left side. Addison spots his hole, knows the situation in terms of down and distance. Recognizes just plunging forward. Get him a fresh set of downs.
The Montreal Alouettes are awaiting a winner in this game in the Eastern Final next week. Late in the half, it is caught and ripped out with him still up. And do the Redblacks get the ball anyway? Argos thinking they have it. Darius Bladick, one of the Redblacks, rushing in after Pimpleton coughed it up. In the hands of Jacob Ruby, the left tackle, alertly coming in, and what could have been a disaster for Ottawa.
That tackler closed quickly there on Pimpleton. Looked like it was the weak side linebacker.
The ball carrier was down with contact prior to fumbling the football. Ottawa will remain in possession.
towards the turf, whether it actually touched or not. We'll try and get another look here. In the meantime, the Red Blacks are going to try and get the ball snapped. Absolutely. Right knee touches down. Great call by the officials.
Excellent call. They got it. And it's still Ottawa ball. And it's right at the 45. And that is caught. And it's a first down for the Red Blacks.
And there you see top two guys, all-purpose yards per game. Not necessarily a lot of games this season where both were in the lineup. Referring to Ottawa's Khalil Pimpleton and Devontae Dedmon. But two multi-purpose weapons out there for Ottawa.
Another catch for Pimpleton. It's a first down at the Argo 36. It's caught inside the 20. It's Dominic Rhymes with the catch and another first down. Late in the half, under a minute to go, and the Red Blacks are knocking on the door again.
This is a bold throw by Drew Brown. You're going to see tight window here as he's looking for Dominic Rhymes. A couple of defenders doing the flybys here as Brown threads the needle to his second leading receiver, Dominic Rhymes.
The Red Blacks had led most of the way until the Argos' last possession when they went ahead by a point. Ottawa looking to retake the lead, heading to the dressing room for halftime. Brown dumps it off to Jalen Acklin. His first catch of the afternoon as he gets it inside the 10. Still shy of a first down. 27 seconds to go on the clock, and a second and short is coming up here for Ottawa.
And these two teams going back and forth. Impressive response drive here from Ottawa to march it down the field. Good communication there from Acklin, letting Brown know when he was in a little bit of trouble. Facing the heat, Acklin was there as an outlet.
Eighth different Ottawa receiver to have a catch in this game. 14 seconds and counting till halftime and a second and 3. Pressure. End zone! Touchdown! Jalen Acklin again! Ottawa has the lead again.
Terrific clock management, excellent execution. Acklin on the left side of the screen, fakes out, bends in behind the goalpost. Nice timing there as Drew Brown has been money in the first half for the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Jalen Acklin, 5th year out of Western Illinois. Mentioned started with Hamilton. Appeared in a couple of Grey Cups with the Ticats before signing on with Ottawa as a free agent. And as a playoff touchdown catch for the Red Blacks, and Drew Brown, 26 of 31 for 256 now. And 2 touchdown passes. And we hadn't had any reason to say Acklin's name until a couple of plays ago when he caught one for 7 yards to get him closer, and then that touchdown.
Yeah, Jalen Acklin looking to create a little drama. He's on the left side of the screen. You'll see him appear in behind the goalpost. Going deep. Kind of a double move. Initially shows quick out, but then takes it vertical. Acklin. Letting the Argo fans know what he thinks of them.
Well, we've talked to him at various points where the Red Blacks have been playing Toronto, and he does not disguise his hate for the Argos. And that goes back to his days with the Hamilton Tiger Cats down the QEW.
Yeah, I was going to say, coming into the league as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, he learned very quickly as a CFLer how he felt about the Argos and their fans. Has taken that sentiment with him to the nation's capital.
6 seconds to go. They do a short kick, and the Argos are on it. So an onside kick, it gets to about the Ottawa 47. 3 seconds left.
Yeah, I like the concept. I don't like the timing of it.
Well, I mean, it'd be a long field goal try for Hairelau, but there is time to try it.
Well, and here's the thing, is say there had been a penalty against Toronto on the kickoff where Ottawa is kicking from closer to Toronto territory, where if Ottawa can recover it, they're the ones in field goal range. But in this situation, even if Ottawa gets it, they don't really have time to run a play and then kick. So I don't see the value in the play at that time. It only benefited the Argos.
So special teams miscue, really, if Hairelau can make this field goal. It's a 53-yard try. And it's good. So the Red Blacks really gift the Argos 3 points heading into the dressing room. And Ottawa still leads. But it's down to 3 points.
Very peculiar decision by Ottawa in that situation. You know, it didn't look like Leone was trying to drive it deep. It looked like he was trying to kick it at one of the guys in the front row. You do it sometimes when you anticipate that the guys in the front row are bailing to get back to their blocks, that they're not watching the ball kick, that you may be able to bounce it off someone's back. But the timing of this, given, again, that they're kicking off from the regular spot, it's not a penalty against Toronto. This hurts.
But Ottawa does have a good first half. That last couple of plays notwithstanding, and especially Braylon Addison, very productive on the depth chart as a running back, but here as a receiver, and a beautiful catch with Royce Metier all over him for that Ottawa touchdown. He is standing by now with Matthew.
Well, Braylon, I know that you were off the field last year, recovering, getting back. Did you know you're going to be carrying the load today in that first half, 87 combined yards?
No, just trying to stay ready, stay dialed in for my team. We got to keep punching as a unit.
This feels like a prize fight. Does this team have what it takes in the second half?
Yeah, we knew all week it was going to be a playoff game. It's a great team. They've been good all year. You know, we've been fighting back and forth for second place. And so we came in knowing it was going to be a dogfight. We just got to keep punching.
Thank you, Braylon.
Thank you.
As I said, Kate, Braylon Addison said it too. It's a prize fight. It's a playoff game.
Matthew Shinetti in postseason form with a nice little walk and talk there as well. Kate Burness back alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Steele. We've got ourselves a fantastic football game to kick off the day, just like we expected.
Yes.
And Milt, we were talking about that. I was saying this too because I'm still confused about the squib kick.
Yeah.
I still don't understand what the decision.
It was a bad squib.
I was going to say it was a bad kick, but just the decision.
Execution.
Just really didn't make any sense.
Who said thank you very much.
Yeah, he was like, that is A-okay in my books. Milt, when we were talking about this game before, you know, we constantly talk about the receivers on Ottawa. We talk about Drew Brown. We talk about this defense. What we never talk about is the run game and the running back situation. But they've done a really nice job establishing their ground game.
Yeah, and it's been untraditional. It's not like they're going to turn around and hand the ball off because they don't have a traditional back in the game right now. You have basically two scat backs in Addison and Dedmon, but it's been working. That right there is like pitching it out to your running back. So they're allowing these guys to get the ball in their hand and make plays with their feet. You got to give a lot of credit to their quarterback, Drew Brown. He's having a great game. Offensive coordinator Tommy Condell has been very creative. He's allowing these guys to make some plays. And this catch right here by Addison, this is awesome. That man is special. And Travis Moore, his receiver coach, told me that he can do it all. Yes, he's a receiver, but putting him at running back and we don't miss a beat. So that's been great for this team because, as I mentioned, we talked in the pregame, Toronto, they're not going to give up a bunch of rushing yards. They're second only to Saskatchewan when it comes to the run. So you got to be creative. And so far, these Ottawa Redblacks have done a great job in this first half.
Milt, smoke and mirrors with that run game. They've got 18 yards rushing in the first half, but it's just what it's done to the Toronto defense and going empty a lot. And that first drive alone, they were 60-40 empty package, and it's been a lot more of that as the game continued. You talk about punching. You talk about boxing. You talk about throwing haymakers. That's what Toronto's doing. And watch this right here. Sometimes as a receiver, Hardy's got 4 catches, 41 yards. Look at him come across field here. You got to pick that up. You got to allow your quarterback to make that throw. Addison coming up, a brilliant catch. This is a better angle. Just beautiful. Just doing anything it takes. A veteran, Justin Hardy, just coming across, doing his job above and beyond. So what Tommy Condell, you mentioned that, Milt, and just to expound on that, I can just say that doing a phenomenal job of catching Toronto kind of off guard with an empty formation much of the series. I would trash the Dustin Crum package, you know, when he comes in there, because that's an easy tell defensively when you have one back and him coming in the game. But right now, Tommy Condell, bunch of jabs, controlling the line of scrimmage with high percentage throws, and then Chad Kelly doing his thing with the bombs and haymakers.
Yeah. You mentioned it, the two backs. You mentioned Tommy Condell. I talked before the game about Tommy needing to scheme some stuff up, because I don't think they're as good offensively as the Argos are defensively, especially the front. He's done that. He's kept them off balance. You saw early the philosophy for this Argos defense, and it was the same as it was when it was Corey Mace as DC. Now with Fields and Iben, same thing. They want to take away the deep, that umbrella coverage, and make you check it down and work the ball down the field methodically. And here you saw 7 lined up back there. Obviously, 2 of them dropped down, but still 5 guys deep in the coverage. Again, same thing. You got 7 of them, 2 dropped down. There's still 5 guys deep, which means the underneath's open, and they've continuously picked that apart. Now, you saw right after this, finally, they had enough, and they said it's a second down, a key play. Toronto has to bring pressure. They bring some pressure, 5-man pressure here, and tackle and get off the field. You actually saw Tommy Condell actually shaking his head, because they actually had a man. There he is. They had a man beater drawn up there. So they must have expected that Toronto was finally going to blitz on that next second down, and they did. Tommy had a rub route crosser called, just a good tackle, but they're going to have to send some pressure in the second half.
Ottawa right now, I guarantee you, is looking at this like, guys, we gave them 17 points. Yep. We allowed 2 guys just to run down the field wide open, and then that play at the end of the half. They're looking at, we could be up a lot more than what we are right now.
Yeah, Milt, I think they are, but I got to credit Chad Kelly for standing in there after that shot from Lozo.
Right,
and, I mean, knocked the wind out of him, then he bounces back with 2 big-time throws to keep his team in the ball game.
And
I mean, it's just absolutely crazy.
And they needed that, too, because you saw there was a little bit of dissension on the there.
Chad looked back at his own line and was like, what are you doing?
Lucky they had a big play and something good happened.
2 big plays.
Something after that, negative again, who knows what would have happened.
That's the best part of the CFL. 2 big plays can change absolutely everything as we took a look at the time of possession as well. We've got ourselves a great game, but we know this is just the appetizer for today. The West semifinal coming up. Lapo standing by with Coach's Playbook. Countdown to kick off in Regina for the second semifinal between the Lions and the Rough Riders. The Riders back in the playoffs for the first time since 2021. The Riders dominated the Lions when the 2 teams met earlier this month with the 39-8 win. BC benched quarterback Nathan Rourke after that loss, turning back to Vernon Adams Jr., who will start today. VA won 6 of his 9 regular season starts, had 16 TD passes against 9 interceptions. He also threw for over 300 more yards 6 times in his last 3 games against Saskatchewan. He threw over 450 yards. With more, it's Lapo in Coach's Playbook. And look at Lapo. We got VA warming up. Are you ready for this? At 12:34 local time. You know he's ready for this one.
Fired up and ready to go, is he? I'll tell you what, Vernon Adams, when he came into the Canadian Football League, everyone talked about his ability to use his legs. When you look at the stats there, 450 yards passing the first time they played, no. He's a thrower who can run. And what does that mean? Like a thrower who can run. This guy, he can throw it all over the place, but when he needs to use his legs, he can do it. Now, Jaden Dahlke blitzes off the edge here. He's got to be under control because he's got the strength to come out of this and throw this huge throw to Aiden Eberhardt. The first time they played, he had a bunch of these explosive plays by making sure he could break out of these opportunities. Now, this is a climb the pocket. He climbs the pocket, protection breaks down, he climbs, gets a throw. When teams play a ton of zone, sooner or later that zone's going to break down, going to get you your throws, and eventually you have to play contain. He can't find anything, There's nobody here in this area of the field for contain, so an easy touchdown for Vernon Adams. So that's going to be the real important thing for them. Now, on the Riders side, Sam Emulus, that's the guy I'm looking for. 255 yards receiving in both games. He's going to be a big factor for the Riders. Now, halftime of this football game, I think the Ottawa Redblacks have done a tremendous job offensively. They're moving the ball, getting where they need to be, getting the ball. We'd like one more touchdown, but they're holding the ball and keeping away from Toronto. Defensively for the Redblacks, they can't give up these big zone plays. There's 2 explosive plays. Chad Kelly has got 8 explosive plays against the Redblacks this season. There's 2 more. That's 10. They got to be better in the back end because I think the Redblacks are doing the best they can offensively. And we'll keep seeing. They got to handle the deep zone throws better, Kate. That's what they got to handle. Fall over into the inside, Kate. Get that zone coverage taken care of, Kate. Let's get it done.
Lapo, great stuff on the Western semifinal. Can't wait for that one in a few hours' time. But first, some business at BMO to wrap up a very entertaining first half. Redblacks currently up by 3 with a trip to Montreal on the line.
The Eastern semifinal. The Redblacks lead by 3. They lead in a number of statistical categories. In fact, the Argos offense has only run 11 plays, but there have been some big plays, including a touchdown to Tavares Daniels, who is standing by with Matthew Giannetti.
Tavares, how explosive is this offense when Chad Kelly gets a chance?
I mean, I think you see it, man. I think we had, 12 plays in the first half. We got 20 points. And I'm just excited to see what happens in the second half.
What was the discussion in the locker room knowing that this really does feel like a playoff game? The intensity is high.
Hey, we just got to execute our plays, take it one play at a time. The best team going to win this game, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Thank you, Tavares.
Yeah.
Tavares Daniels, 41-yard touchdown for him. Mackay Polk, 70-yard reception from Chad Kelly, who's 6 for 7. 182 yards, Dwayne, averaging over 30 yards of reception.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to watch the Toronto Argonauts offensive dynamic change over the course of this season, playing the first half of the year without Chad Kelly, playing the second half with Kelly. You look at those 30-yard completions, a number of them they've had. I believe Lapo said, was it 8 of them against Ottawa this season? I mean, they're seeing things in coverage that Kelly is able to exploit. But you look overall, Argos had 21 pass completions of over 30 yards this season. 14 of them came in the 8 games that Chad Kelly played.
And that continues that trend in this one as he's had a couple of big ones instead averaging over 30, but those big touchdowns certainly bumping that number up. The Redblacks have had the ball over 80% of this game. The Argos will start the second half with the ball and trailing only by 3. Janarian Grant on that kick return and gets it up across the 40-yard line. So have a look at Chad Kelly's first half, 6 of 7 for 182 yards and a couple of touchdown passes.
Yeah, ups and downs. You heard Matty talk about Kelly recovering after taking that big hit. The forced fumble by Lorenzo Malden. Rebounded well. Come back with a couple of the home run balls you talked about. First to Mackay Polk, then Tavares Daniels. Making the most of limited opportunity.
And down only 3 to start the second half of the play action fake. Kelly has time, decides to take off and run now as he gets across midfield. And Frankie Griffin coming in. Argo fans, yes, a flag is down now for what looks like will be called a late hit on Griffin on Kelly.
And this is one I understand as a defensive player. They have to call it, but I understand why he's trying to make the hit. At a certain point, you've got to commit one way or another. Chad Kelly's a guy who can hurt you with his legs, but he was on his way down.
Major foul. Roughing the passer, roughing the quarterback. Ottawa number 28. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. And a first down.
So that ends up being another big play against the Redblacks defense. The run was enough for a first by Kelly, and then tack on 15 for that penalty against Griffin.
And now the key for Ottawa, as we've seen with them in the past, particularly the game in Montreal late in the season, don't compound that mistake.
And Andre Proulx talking to Chad Kelly, who is being pulled from this game in the concussion spotter. He takes a knee. He looked like protesting the decision to remove him from this game. Frankie Griffin on that penalty had gone in. See Nick Arbuckle now, the backup quarterback today, and did get the shoulder in around the head of Kelly as he was going down.
Yeah, and I didn't see Kelly as he got up to see if he was unsteady, but definitely shot up high. You see him lay down for a second there. So the spotters doing their job to try to protect the player. Frustrating as it is for Chad Kelly in this moment.
So Nick Arbuckle is in for how long we don't know. Last week in the victory or loss in Edmonton, he played a lot in that game, relieving Cameron Dukes. Kelly didn't start. That's the run there by Kadeem Carey. And Arbuckle's numbers. In that loss in a close game in Edmonton last week, he was 22 of 32 for 378. 2 touchdown passes, 1 intercepted.
Yeah, Cameron Dukes started that ball game. He got banged up. Arbuckle came in, went the rest of the way. Did have 1 start for the Argos this season, a win. 100 pass attempts for him on the year.
It was back in week 10 here against the Calgary Stampeders that he got the start. The last 2 touchdown possessions, a good place to start at their own 40, and yeah, they needed only 3 plays combined. That 1 big one to Mackay Polk, and then the 2-play drive ending with a touchdown to Tavares Daniels.
How's that for efficiency? 140 yards of offense, 2 touchdowns in 50 seconds.
He said, who needs to worry about time of possession if you can keep doing that?
Yeah, your defense may not love it. We'll see as this game goes on.
It's Nick Arbuckle in, handing off again. Kadeem Carey, biggest run of the afternoon. The Argos only ran the ball 3 times in the first half. That's one of the top running teams in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, nice job. Couple receivers blocking there. David Unger, maybe the smallest guy on the field right now, had a great kick-out block right at the point of attack here to spring Kadeem Carey.
And Chad Kelly has emerged from the tent, being examined, taken off the field for concussion protocol, and obviously looking helmet on to get back in this game. Still Argo football on a 1st and 10, back to the ground again. Kadeem Carey asserting himself now in the second half, the 3rd leading rusher in the Canadian Football League as Kelly does come back on, and Nick Arbuckle heads on.
Well, there you see the versatility and depth of talent in the Toronto Argonaut offense. First half for them was all about the big play, the long ball. Kelly goes out of the lineup, seamlessly shift gears to handing the ball off to Kadeem Carey, who just churns up a pile of yards until their starting quarterback is able to re-enter the ballgame.
1st and goal, Kelly back in, throwing, touchdown. Another touchdown for Tavares Daniels. And Kelly got back in time to finish off this drive as the Argos have taken the lead again.
We've talked about this before. A team that's receiving the football to start the second half, the points that Ottawa gifted them at the end of the first half, that this is now sort of 10 points consecutive possessions for the Argos. End of the first half, start of the second half. They make the most of it and reverse the scoreboard, basically. Go from Ottawa being up by 6 to being down 4.
Ira allowed the extra point. Tavares Daniels had 2 touchdowns in the regular season. In this Eastern semifinal, he has 2 touchdowns, including that one, 27-23, Argos ahead. Tavares Daniels suddenly a very busy receiver. Not a lot of catches, but he's making the most of them, Dwayne.
Yeah, he sure is. Caught the bomb from Chad Kelly in the second quarter. The Argos' second touchdown, and opens the third quarter with his second touchdown catch of the day, this time a short one. Big year last season, as you mentioned earlier, Rod, for that combination of Kelly to Daniels. Tavares with his first career 1,000-yard season last year. And they're finding their way at just the right time of year now.
2 catches, 2 touchdowns. Tavares Daniels, Khalil Pimpleton on the return across the 40, and then stopped right around the 43. Chad Kelly ultimately throws the touchdown pass, but he was off for a few plays after that hit by Frankie Griffin. Upset he had to leave for concussion protocol, but after a few plays was able to come back on and finish off the drive. And then had that moment afterwards with Andre Prue, the referee, explaining he had a job to do with concussion protocol. Said he had to leave.
And I'll tell you, that goes a long way with coaches and players. It's just the official taking the time to sort of explain what the situation was. Andre Prue couldn't really do that as Chad Kelly was coming off the field. But with the commercial break TV timeout, good job by Andre to get over there and make sure it was clear.
Drew Brown has completed 14 straight passes. When he last was on the field, and it was a touchdown, Ottawa had a 6-point lead, and then that bizarre short kick led to a last play of the half field goal for the Argos, and then they drove for the touchdown to open up the second half. Short yardage, and that's 2nd and 1. Drew Brown, though, very effective first half, throwing for 267 yards in that first.
Yeah, and the key for Drew Brown is, you know, we've all talked, whether it has been us here in the booth or the guys in studio, about the non-traditional ball control offense for Ottawa. It all hinges on Drew Brown being accurate with the football, and he was certainly that in the first half.
And still a close game. Ottawa trailing by 4. So obviously needing that offense to drive down and get points, but control the ball as well. That toss inside to Pimpleton on the sweep, keeps his feet, picks up a couple of yards on first down as they just get it over midfield.
You notice on some of the runs to Pimpleton, just because of his size, he's not really a guy who's really able to run through tackles. So if Toronto's able to get a little bit of traffic there, they're doing a pretty good job slowing him down. So by remaining disciplined, not leaving him too much open room to use his speed, they've been able to contain Pimpleton on some of those plays so far.
1-yard gain for the rookie from Central Michigan, Khalil Pimpleton. 2nd and 9. Brown standing back, gets rid of it. No, intended for Rhymes down at the Argo 40. It falls incomplete, and 3rd down. The punting unit will come on for Ottawa.
A chance to try to seize back some of the momentum that Toronto had taken over right from the end of the first half. Missed here by Ottawa. We'll see what this punt cover unit can do in terms of containing Janarian Grant, trying to give Toronto a long field.
That ended a run of 15 straight completions by Brown, by the way. Janarian Grant inside the 10. Breaking loose. Still on his feet. And he gets up near the 25. Tyron Breda there, and Justin Howell in on the tackle. A gorgeous early November day. Playoff time. The CFL on TSN 27-23 Argos. CFL tomorrow. Get ready for Sunday Night Football. The 4-4 Colts taking on the 5-2 Vikings. That's tomorrow, 8:20 Eastern, 5:20 Pacific. TSN and CTV. The Vikings led by quarterback Sam Darnold. This was the Cotton Bowl. Back in 2017, Darnold was picked off for the touchdown by Damon Webb, who went on to the Canadian Football League, starting in Saskatchewan and moving over to become a member of the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Pick 6 for Damon Webb. Had a couple of those this year in the first meeting against Chad Kelly and the Toronto Argonauts back in Week 14. A TD place in Ottawa. 1st and 10. Argo ball. Kadeem Carey on that rush. And this is what I'm talking about, which is a great start for the REDBLACKS in their first meeting of the year against the Argos.
Yeah, a couple of first half pick 6s for Damon Webb in that ball game. First one coming as he breaks up an intended hitch screen. Second one takes it the distance. There you see multi-pick 6 games for Damon Webb against a couple of pretty good QBs.
Kelly's looking deep again. Coverage there. It's caught by Mackay Polk. Oh my goodness, inside the Ottawa
Johnny Hunter coming over, gets a piece of it. But great concentration. It's a good job stacking, getting on top of the defender by Polk.
All the way down to the red black 26. Kelly pulls it down and throws it into the turf as he's being taken down. Lorenzo Malden and Webb, or Santos Knox in the pressure there for Ottawa. Let's have another look at that big play to Mackay Polk again.
Toronto killing the Ottawa secondary with the deep ball. DeMonte Coxey loving it on the sidelines.
Mackay Polk has 4 catches for 158 yards. That's 70-yard touchdown. Another big play there to get it down to the 26. It's a 2nd and 10. The Argos with a 4-point lead. Looking for more very quickly. 4-man rush. Kelly with time. It is caught just shy of a first down. That's the first catch in this one by Jake Herslow. In just his 2nd CFL game, he made his debut last week in Edmonton to wrap up the regular season and caught a touchdown pass from Nick Arbuckle.
Yeah, spent a little bit of time in Saskatchewan last year. Most of this season on the Toronto Argonauts practice roster. This is a guy they really like, but haven't had an opportunity to get an American receiver in the lineup. But with Coxey a late scratch today, he was brought on for insurance and gets the start.
1st and 10, faking the handoff to Carey. Kelly takes off again. Touchdown. Kelly runs again. This time runs it into the end zone and increases the Argo lead.
We spend so much time talking about what Chad Kelly does with his arm. And the big throws, this is the underrated part of his game. Very effective runner. When things break down, Kelly on the scramble. A couple of Red Blacks have a shot at him, but fights his way into the end zone. 2-possession lead for the Toronto Argonauts.
And all very short drives because of the big plays they've been able to make. Capped off with this. Kelly calls his own number when he couldn't find a receiver. Argos coaches loving that as they open up their lead. Chad Kelly, 17 unanswered points for the Argos. He's the latest one to find the end zone.
Yeah, nice effort here from Chad Kelly. I think maybe his arm was tired from all the long throws here, so he just tucks this one and goes. Diving across the goal line to extend that Argonaut lead.
Well, Kelly has had 2 runs, both of them notable, for 29 yards. The first one is when he took the hit from Frankie Griffin and was taken out for concussion protocol reasons, and then that run into the end zone, 34-23, 17 unanswered. At one point, with 3 seconds to go in the half, Ottawa has led 23-17. So a big possession coming up now. You see that short kickoff again to keep it away from the 2-star returners. And it seems to pay off again, too. A very short return for the Red Blacks just across the 35. Drew Brown has great numbers on the day, but they need something big out of their offense again now with Toronto really seizing the momentum.
Yeah, you're kind of feeling Ottawa hanging on by their fingernails right now. This is a big drive for them in terms of trying to get some momentum back in this ball game.
As mentioned, Brown had completed 15 straight passes going back to the first half, and that streak just coming to an end with his last throw in the previous possession. They have it at the 37. They're trailing by 11. It's Jack Cassar, their special teams leader, getting some attention.
Cassar, Carleton product. Guy that may have been envisioned as the heir apparent at middle linebacker to our friend Enoch Mwamba. Canadian middle linebacker for the Argos at the time. Cassar tied for the league lead in special teams tackles this year. He has become dominant in that role. A guy who was known as Thor with the flowing blonde locks during his time with the Carleton Ravens.
22 special teams tackles. Timed with A.J. Allen of the Riders. That's complete. Up at midfield. That's Pimpleton with that catch. this possession and a first down.
Can't ask a whole lot more of Drew Brown and the Ottawa offense in this football game. Doing their best to keep pace with the high-powered Argonauts. Biggest thing at this point is that the D needs to get some stops. They can't give up those big plays.
Thrown 2 touchdown passes, one to Braylon Addison, one to Jalen Ackland. They go on the ground that time. It's Addison. Mentioned it was last week that decided to put him in on the depth as a starting running back and got one for a touchdown as a receiver, but talked about the different offensive approach. Not much of that conventional running game for the REDBLACKS.
Not a stranger to being creative during his time in Hamilton. They weren't always the team that relied on having a high volume feature running back.
2nd and 6, swinging it out. Oh, and met immediately is Addison by Benji Franklin coming in for a big tackle to force another 3rd down.
Benji Franklin among the league leaders in defensive stops. Plays resulting in no gain for the offense. Damon Webb and Benji Franklin atop.
So the Ottawa drive stalls. Just inside the Argo zone, Richie Leone to kick it away from inside his 50. The lone returner, Janarian Grant inside the 10. Takes a pop, and he goes down just shy of the 15. So Argo football. An Argo lead, opening it up to 11 the last time they had the ball. Big defensive play there by Franklin. 34-23 in this East semifinal. Different offensive approach for Ryan Dinwiddie and the Argos compared to 2 weeks ago when they ran the ball a lot, feasting on big plays.
Well, they certainly are, and it's just been right down that seam every time. Safety Money Hunter trying to get out there to help out. First there was a touchdown to Mackay Polk, then Tavares Daniels. Both those back-to-back in the first half. Then a big play to Polk that set up the Chad Kelly touchdown run, extending the Toronto Argonaut lead to 11.
Kelly has thrown for 259 yards, 158 of that to one receiver, Mackay Polk. There's the one touchdown. Daniels has a couple. Kelly's 9 for 11 and 3 touchdown passes. Only 11 passes by the Argos in this game, but they're making them count. And much more uncommon running play there. It's Bryce Carter, late arrival back into the lineup for the REDBLACKS, and a key player, defensive end, with the tackle there, and Kadeem Carey.
Now you look at this Ottawa defensive line. As you mentioned, they got Bryce Carter back for the regular season finale after a stint on the 6-game injured list for him. Mike Wakefield tied for the team lead in sacks this year. It was Bryce Carter that led the way last year. Lorenzo Malden led the league the year before.
Illegal procedure. Illegal procedure. Toronto number 64. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Push him 5 yards back in that procedure call. And a 2nd and 14. The Argos hemmed in deep in their zone. Still a 2-possession game. 11-point difference now. And once again, the whistle blowing before the snap of the ball.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 3 minutes 56 seconds.
They're 5 minutes, so they're taking the box. It's all man.
So they reset the clock. In that last meeting here at BMO 2 weeks ago, the Argos had a 32-point lead after 3 before the REDBLACKS came storming back. There's another sack on Kelly to push them even deeper. Michael Wakefield, one of the sacks leaders in the Canadian Football League, He had 8. It was a 5-way tie in that department. Has a big playoff sack to force the Argos to punt it away from their end zone.
And a massive play here from Wakefield. Looks like they had a twist on between he and Carter as he kind of looped wide there. Never actually went around Carter, but took a wide path there on the guard, Anthony Van Dahl.
Michael Wakefield, who was on the Red Blacks roster for their last postseason game, that was the Grey Cup in 2018, remembers that day well on the icy field at Commonwealth Stadium when they lost to the Calgary Stampeders. And so John Haggerty punts it deep into his own zone, getting it near midfield. Devontae Dedmon fakes a little move and cuts it up. And Dedmon gets it inside the Argo 50. A good place to start for Drew Brown.
Hey, Mama, what's up?
We're going to get the sacks leaders and a very low leading total this year in the Canadian Football League, but good representation from the two teams playing right now.
Yeah, certainly 5 guys tied for the lead, 4 of them playing here today, making their presence felt. Michael Wakefield, Ottawa's nominee as most outstanding defensive player this year, following in the footsteps of his defensive line mates, Bryce Carter and Lorenzo Molden. The veteran Cleon Lang rounding out that starting front 4.
1st and 10. Ottawa trailing by 11 in the Argo zone. And no, intended for Rhymes with Wynton McManus right in behind him. Falls incomplete. 2nd down.
Yeah, Derek Parrish with the University of Houston from that left defensive end spot supplies the heat. Fighting his way past Zach Pelios there.
Parrish and Ralph Hawley, 2 key additions up front defensively for the Argos when you consider last year they had not only Sean Oakman, but Brandon Barlow and Wayne Hendricks all gone. Oakman leaving earlier this season. 2nd and 10. And it's caught right down at the 35. Coming back is Hardy. And a 1st down for the Red Blacks.
Well, need a big play. Go to the reliable Justin Hardy. Good coverage there from Mark Milton, but as Brown starts to scramble, Hardy makes the play work by coming back to the football.
Marks it just inside the 35 of the Argos. Brown, no, closest to it was Franklin, took a dive at it, and a throw off to the right, but it falls incomplete. Yeah, Justin Hardy, more of an understated star with the Red Blacks, just the way he goes about his business, but 2nd behind Justin McInnes in receiving yards this year, and all those catches too.
Yeah, impressive season, and just what a great addition he has been to this Ottawa team, coming in a couple of years ago as NFL veteran, a guy who was ready to contribute right away on a team that needed some receiving help.
2nd and 10. Brown, deep. No, falls incomplete at one point. Looked like both an Argo and a Red Black had a shot at that ball. Deshaun Amos in.
Two Ottawa receivers basically end up on top of each other this route. Both Pimpleton and Hardy right there. Looked like Hardy might have been looking for a call from based on the contact. There, Amos goes up. To me, he's just trying to make a play on the football.
Pimpleton might have had a shot at a touchdown there. So Lewis Ward, 3 for 3. And 3 big points they're going for here to get this Argo lead trimmed down a bit. Ward, one of the best in the business. A minute to go till 3/4 time. First points of the half for the Red Blacks. The 3 from Lewis Ward. So it's 34-26, an 8-point difference. The Argos on top. To go until 3/4 time in this Eastern semifinal, with the winner going to Montreal next week. Kelly, shorter pass, and that's Herslow with it. Jake Herslow up to midfield and a first down for the Argos.
Love the job Herslow does here, making the first man miss as he makes this catch. Quick spin to the outside. Knife up the field.
Herslow from Virginia Beach and played his college ball with the Houston Cougars. Just had that touchdown last week from Nick Arbuckle in Edmonton. The final regular season game. Filling in for DeMonte Coxey. There's Deontay McMahon. To the right. Stays in bounds. Looks like he has another first down on the ground for the Argos. And a flag comes out.
Prior to yards being gained, holding Toronto number 80. 10-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
Perimeter run there. You see DeVaris Daniels in the middle of the screen, keeping Damon Webb from being able to bounce outside on that one.
Negating that.
He may not like it, but it was a hold.
So 1st and 20. This is the last play of the third quarter. And a good quarter it's been overall for the Argos with an 8-point lead from their 45. And that long first down, it is caught. Well, Daniels didn't like the penalty, but he probably feels a whole lot better about that big catch. It looks to be enough for an Argo first down. Kelly to Daniels, what a combination that's been. Not a touchdown this time, but the big play. One of many for the double blue. They'll take a lead. Trying to get to Montreal in a rematch with the Alouettes. The REDBLACKS had the lead at halftime, but the Argos had momentum, and they cashed in on that with a couple more touchdowns to take a bigger lead, and they head into the fourth quarter, Dwayne, up by 8 points.
Yeah, the Argos have done a lot with a little in terms of time of possession, number of offensive plays, just slicing through the REDBLACK secondary basically with the big plays. Chad Kelly goes down for a couple plays. They decide they want to go back to the run game, and Kadeem Carey looks good when called upon as well. Curious to see if we might see more of him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the running game, which was such a big part of their victory over the REDBLACKS 2 weeks ago. And yet, after 3 quarters, the lead then was 32 points when Ottawa outscored Toronto 25-0 in that final quarter to make it a game at the end. They got close. They had a couple of onside kicks. It's an 8-point difference now to start the fourth. Kelly throwing, completing 2, and a short one to David Ungerer, who gets it inside the 35.
Nice misdirection play there to allow Kelly to get on the perimeter. He's got a little bit of time to find Ungerer and move the sticks.
A former Ticat started his CFL career in Hamilton. Went to the Grey Cup with the Cats. This is second year in Toronto. The Ottawa 33 now in a 1st and 10. Kelly to the right again. It's Herslow, his third catch of this game, and it's closer to the 25. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up. One thing the Argos did so well in that last meeting with Ottawa was get themselves in a 2nd and short position repeatedly, allowing them to sustain some long drives.
Argo offense just executing so well in this football game. I think about a long ball team, even without DeMonte Coxey. The best jump ball guys or contested catch receivers in the league.
Handing it off on 2nd and 2. And it's Kadeem Carey. Hasn't been as busy as we've seen in other games for the Argos this year. His first in double blue, but picks up a first down there inside the 20.
And I suspect, based on the way that this football game has gone, that Kadeem Carey is feeling pretty fresh coming into the fourth quarter. Not a ton of touches to be had in this one. As a result, we haven't seen as much of Deontay McMahon, Daniel Adeboboye as we did in other games during the season where there was a bigger workload for the running backs.
Another 1st and 10. throwing Kevin Mittal, and the rookie takes it down inside the 15 towards about the 12-yard line again. Setting up a second and about 4 or 5 yards this time for Toronto.
As you can see, Mittal, a big receiver, built more like a running back or a fullback. We've seen a lot of his touches with the Argos this season, just in the short passing game and letting him go to work after the catch. But an effective deep ball guy as well, and you'll certainly see that as his career continues.
2nd and 5, Ottawa 13. Kelly, touchdown! Jake Herslow. His 2nd touchdown with the Argos, but this one's a whole lot bigger than last week. It's increased Toronto's lead in the 4th quarter.
Herslow lined up out wide on the line of scrimmage. Polk is going to clear out. He's just going to come underneath, find the open space. He does a nice job of it. Easy read for Chad Kelly on the quick hitter. Herslow scoring a touchdown a game.
On a pretty good clip. Filling in for DeMonte Coxie. Herslow. And the Argos have their 3rd touchdown of this half. They trailed 23-20 at halftime. And now they're up 41-26. Late addition. And a step closer for the Argos to getting to Montreal in the Eastern Final.
Lots of football to be played at BMO Field, but coming up after, it's the Western semifinal between Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Vernon Adams and the BC Lions. A trip to Winnipeg on the line. So send it back to Rod.
Just over 12 minutes to go in the 4th quarter here, with the Argos just scoring another touchdown. Jake Herslow celebrating, the new Argo, getting into the lineup last week against the Elks in Edmonton, and now has a playoff touchdown. Ira Lau to kick off. And a shorter kick, Ottawa football, and the pressure, Matthew, starting to heat up on the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
You know, Rod, at the start of the game, there was this jittery energy I could feel on Ottawa's sidelines. But now that they're down 15 to the Argos, and certainly the crowd of BMO Field is letting them know that, it is quite subdued here. And you get the feeling, boys, that this drive could be pivotal for the REDBLACKS.
No question, Matthew. As good as Drew Brown and the offense have been, 2 for 5 in the red zone. That's one thing when you consider Kelly and the Argonauts are 3 for 3 in the red zone, plus hitting big plays for touchdowns. As good as Brown's numbers have been, they've got to get something going here. 4 receivers to the right. He's looking that way. Will pump fake and checks it down to Pimpleton. Just takes it out of bounds across the 50.
Well, the Argos have taken it to the extreme. We take a look since Ottawa's last postseason game.
A lot of time. Grey Cup 2018. Trevor Harris was the quarterback. Bob Dice was the special teams coordinator back then. Dice coming over to the REDBLACKS in 2016. They won the Grey Cup here over Calgary and then lost to the Stampeders 2 years later in Edmonton. Last postseason game for them. Here's Brown. Deep and caught. Pimpleton has it. Big first down is what they need, approaching the Argo 25-yard line.
Well, and this is what I started to say prior to that play, was the thing the Argos have taken to the extreme is the number of big plays they've made in this game. That has been so much of their offense. The fact is, Ottawa really hasn't made any, and it's getting to the point in the game where they need it. So big gainer there to Pimpleton. Gets the REDBLACKS down in scoring range.
In fact, that is their biggest play. 37 yards. Brown to Pimpleton to get them down to the Toronto 22. Down 15 points. Brown to the right. Caught by Pimpleton again. Franklin makes sure he heads out of bounds. A second down is coming up.
There's a 37-yard completion to Pimpleton that moved Ottawa down here. 4 catches of 30-plus yards for him during the season. 3 of them came in the last 2 games of the regular season. He adds another one here. As much of a burner as he is, took him a while to hit those big plays.
Second and 4. Argo 16. Caught! Touchdown! Was he taken down just shy? They signal it is a touchdown for Ottawa. Justin Hardy. Ball came out after he broke the plane, and the REDBLACKS, their first TD in the second half to get them a bit closer. And they will review, though, was he down before breaking the plane?
They ruled a scoring play initially, so they'll automatically take a look at it. Knee is down before the ball is out, so that's not in question. I do think he was down before the ball broke the plane of the goal line.
Very, very close.
Knee is down there. You can see great shot.
That's the best view of it. Great to see that it's not a touchdown.
The previous play is under review.
And on that angle, you can clearly see it is going to be a first and goal for the REDBLACKS at the 1. Hardy has him close. Here's the official command center result.
After review, the ball carrier was down with contact at the 1-yard line. First down, Ottawa at the 1.
First and goal, and a touchdown is a must. Under 10 minutes to go in the 4th. 15-point difference. Dustin Crum is in at quarterback. Short yardage. Crum keeping, and no, does not get there. Jake Sereshna. Jeff Kassar.
Well, you see not much movement here. Ottawa up front as Kassar crashes down off the edge to make the tackle on the Ottawa quarterback.
Stays in. On the second and goal. Right side. Still no signal of a touchdown. The Argos defense stood him up again. Third down coming up. How big is this after it looked like Hardy might have had the score?
Toronto Argonaut defense holding firm. No push there for Ottawa. Do they go back to the well one more time with the sneak or try something a little more creative here on third down?
Well, in a game of big plays, and there have been many of them, could this one be the biggest? Third and goal, Ottawa. 15 points down. Crum! Still no signal. Say no. They're still sorting it out.
He's
fucking short, baby. Turnover on downs. No touchdown. What a stand for the Argo defense. Protecting their lead. Look, like the REDBLACKS had a touchdown earlier, so close. 3 cracks at it by Crum. Can't break the plane. They rule no touchdown. Argo football. First decision was no touchdown, but these situations, Dwayne, are automatically reviewed. Did Dustin Crum break the plane?
And we'll get a good look here. from directly above. And there, the ball has to be across the plane of the goal line. Again, it's that front edge, field side plane of the goal line, not the end zone side. It doesn't have to be completely across the line. It has to pass the front of the line.
That is so close. As said, the call was no, and you need enough evidence to overturn.
The previous play is still under review.
What a significant moment this is, given the score of this game.
Oh, spider cam look from above. Think of where he's holding the ball. It has to be across the plane of the line. You can see the ball.
And from that angle, it looks like it was enough to break the plane and would be an Ottawa touchdown.
Yeah, it appears to me that the ball was in that gap, which is over the goal line, over top of the goal line.
They had 3 cracks at it. On the third, they initially said no. What's the decision now?
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned. It was a touchdown for Ottawa.
A big touchdown for Ottawa to keep them in this game. They were down 15 coming into that. And now a point after try coming up to make it a 1-score game again. So close for Crum, who had 3 cracks at it and did ultimately cross the line with the third.
No, Ottawa was trailing by 15. In theory, your 2 scores can be an 8 and a 7. They're going for 2 here to try and get it down to 7 points. But if they miss,
then it's not. It's a 2-score game.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess they then have that answer with lots of time.
They'd want to know, do they need the 2-pointer? They're looking for 2 here to make it 7. Brown, end zone, no. So it stays a 9-point difference, 41-32. They're going for 2 and not getting it. But they do get an important 6 points to get that much closer. 4th quarter, halfway through. Getting late in the Eastern semifinal, Bob Dice's Red Blacks get closer. They did get the touchdown, but it is still a 2-possession game after their attempt at a 2-point conversion failed.
Yeah, and it is always the debate at that 15, score the 6, you're now at 9. Do you go for 2 now, or what do you do? And I appreciate the thinking.
There's Janarian Grant. Got something going. He's stayed in bounds for a while, and his best return of this day. The Red Blacks have been doing a very good job on him for the most part. So 7:48 to go in the 4th quarter. The Argos leading it by 9. And for Baron Miles' defense, it just keeps getting more important now.
Well, that's the knowledge that the Argos have hurt them in 2 different ways. You certainly can't afford to keep giving up big plays, but you can't have them kill you on the ground and run the clock.
Well, they throw. It's caught by Mittal. It's a good pickup across the 50 near midfield, and a flag comes out late. Bennett Williams.
Probably a horse collar.
Major foul. Horse collar tackle. Ottawa number 14. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
You can see the right hand of Bennett Williams clearly grasping the jersey.
And with that penalty, it gets inside the Ottawa 45 down to the 43. On that first down, Kadeem Carey. Wondered in this situation how much the Argos would run the ball. Well, they're in 2nd and long now, but one thing both sides could agree about the value of the running game, if you have a lead late and you're looking to kill some clock, that's when it becomes very valuable.
Return alert!
That's it.
Hey, possible 2.
You know, you can make the argument that percentage passing game, but I don't believe that to be as physically tiring on a defensive front as running the football.
But it's a passing down on 2nd and 9. Kelly gets rid of it, deflected and caught. Went off the fingertips of Dejan Brissett into the hands of his teammate, Devaris Daniels, and a first down for the Argos.
Yeah, Kelly on the roll, throws it back across his body. Always a dangerous throw and very nearly trouble there. It takes an Argo bounce off the fingertips of Brissett.
And a beautiful catch on the tip by Daniels, who a couple of big catches for touchdowns in this game. And that one to an all-important first down.
And when you look at it, Daniels was ready to catch the football because he anticipated that the ball was coming directly to him before Brissett got a piece of it.
It is down to the Ottawa 25. The Redblacks player getting some attention right now. Devaris Daniels.
Timeout, please reset the game clock to 6 minutes, 17 seconds, 6:17.
And you see what he's done in his career. I mentioned a great start in part of a season with the Stampeders in 2016, and he ends up being the Rookie of the Year. And among active receivers in the CFL, leads the way at over 6,000. 4 catches, 88 yards, a couple of touchdowns, one big catch there to give Toronto a first down as they're trying to grind this thing down now, leading by 9. The injured Redblacks player is the safety Money Hunter.
And as you saw, Devaris Daniels on the sidelines. Obviously, first priority is helping his Argos take care of business, and then no doubt hustling home to watch Dad's Saskatchewan Roughriders. The second half of this playoff double bill.
His father, Philip, who played in the NFL, is the defensive line coach of the Riders. Yeah, part 2 coming up. Western Semi, Saskatchewan and BC. And there is Dejan Brissett. Got his hands on the other pass, but gets that one down to the 20 on that catch. Justin Howell in at safety now with the injury to Money Hunter.
Yeah, Howell in his first game back after a stint on the injured list. Veteran, one of the special teams leaders for Ottawa. Alonzo Adai had been their starting safety for most of the season. He got injured. They shuffled the ratio a little bit to play the American Money Hunter at that spot.
Ottawa 19. Kelly, they get him. He is sacked. Back near the Ottawa 30, Michael Wakefield coming in again. Had a sack earlier in this game.
Timeout, Ottawa.
Leon Lang and Wakefield both getting some push there. Wakefield, the one who gets to the Argo quarterback. Snuff out this drive.
So 3rd down and 12. Hyralau is on again. His biggest kick was right in the final play of the first half. He hit it from 53.
His longest of the season.
Got his longest, and how timely was that after that kickoff by Leone? Went short. Hit a member of the Argos and gave him a chance to put 3 more on the board before halftime. There's 3 more on the board for the Argos, increasing their lead to 12 at 44-32 with just over 5 minutes to go. NBA on TSN to feature Vince Carter and his retired number being retired. The great Toronto Raptor. That's coming up. Sacramento and the Raptors. Tangerine Raptors basketball just down the road here in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena. And Vince Carter back in town. I wonder the influence that he had.
Yeah,
the NBA in Toronto.
The influence he had on basketball, not just in Toronto, but across this country. Nice to see Vince honored by the Raptors.
Four receivers to the right. Brown looks that way. And that is caught by Martner, shy of the 45. The Red Blacks can pretty safely say now need a touchdown. 4.5 minutes to go, down by 12.
And we talked about their need for big plays. As you watch that clock tick down, that need becomes even more pressing here. They got to get a shot down the field. Chunk play.
Second and 6. It's caught. First down at the Argo 50. The Red Blacks will try to work quickly now. Now they know on this field they can score quickly. They did 2 weeks ago. But the circumstances were a bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, the Argos probably sitting back more in that one than they will be in this situation.
I don't think the Argos won't remember what happened a couple of weeks ago when they saw a huge lead fritter away. Those are a couple of onside kicks done successfully that helped Ottawa out. Screening to Acklin. Good yardage after that catch as well as he gets it close to the Argo 35.
Nice execution there, Acklin. Shows us the bomber guy coming in to help in protection. You see him in the back of the formation. He shows like he's going to come across and block. Lets the rusher go as Drew Brown drops it over top. Pelios Bladek leading the way.
At the 37. Red Blacks need a touchdown, onside kick, and a touchdown. And that is knocked away. Going up, the rookie Tyshawn Blackburn. And the 3-minute warning is given. 2:52 on the clock. Chad Kelly and the Toronto Argonauts. They want to face the Alouettes again in the Eastern Final and write a different story. They're getting closer. Still in charge here, leading by 12 with just a couple of minutes to go.
Welcome back to BMO Field, a key 2nd and 10 for the Ottawa Red Blacks, and you can feel it here on the sidelines. It's real quiet right now, especially on the Argos sidelines. I describe it as businesslike, but on Ottawa's sideline, Michael Wakefield keeps going to all his teammates and saying, let's go, guys. Rod?
Well, Matthew, the Red Blacks certainly had their chances. They played a much different game than the one 2 weeks ago. They led for a while. You're thinking about that late first half field goal that they gave up. And they are down now 12 points. 3-down ball from here on in. Needing touchdowns. Starting in this drive. 3-man rush. Brown gets rid of it. Intercepted. Witten McManus. The leader on that Argo defense. He pitches it back. Tavares McFadden has it. And has something big going here to put this one away. He can run all the way to Montreal. A touchdown for the Argos, courtesy their defense.
Ottawa having to be more aggressive offensively means Toronto can be more aggressive defensively. Robbie Smith supplying the pressure. Brown hurries up that throw, and who else to make a huge play but Witten McManus? A risky decision to lateral deep in your own territory at this stage of the game, but it definitely pays off as Tavares McFadden takes it to the house.
The second touchdown this year scored by McFadden. He had a pick 6 against Winnipeg back in the regular season. And that one pretty much seals the deal with the point after by Hairolahu with 2:23 on the clock and a 19-point lead. Now I say this realizing that we were speaking in similar terms a couple of weeks ago when the Red Blacks quickly and furiously cut into that lead, but it's daunting now.
It certainly is. Down to just 2:23 on the clock. big plays deciding this game, and the Argos are the ones that have made them all.
You speculated a couple of weeks ago when Ottawa scored 25 in the fourth quarter that the Argos surviving that late comeback might have actually helped them instead of hurt them if there was a scenario like this that they know, even with only 2.5 minutes to go, they certainly can't get complacent now.
Yeah, you learn some things from adversity and players being put through situations as well, even how to better execute with your hands team and so on. Having had some game reps, painful at the time, but likely proving valuable now when it counts that much more.
That was Drew Brown's 50th pass and his first interception thrown from the intensity of Ryan Dinwiddie. 4th year as head coach of the Argos, 4th home playoff game, and looking for his 2nd win out of those 4. The heartbreak last year against the Alouettes. Lost the Eastern Final in 21 to Hamilton before beating Montreal in 2022, advancing to and then winning the Grey Cup over Winnipeg 2 years ago. But Devontae Dedmon, the injured REDBLACKS player, getting attention on the field. But 2:17 on the clock. And sure, they can say, a lot of them do, Dwayne, and the Argos have remembered the pain of last year here on this field in the Eastern Final against the Alouettes, that they try to put it aside. It doesn't matter now, but I can't help but think as they get ready to go to Montreal, assuming they hang on to this, that some of them will be thinking about what happened in the Eastern Final last year and would love to flip the script in the Alouettes.
Yeah, certainly a feeling. I don't think it's so much about vengeance as just an opportunity that got away from them last year and having a second chance to play in an East Final, regardless of whether it's home or on the road. We see Brown forced to step up with Robbie Smith coming around the corner.
And Tavares McFadden, after that toss by McManus, finds an opening, takes it in. Dinwiddie and the Argos starting to celebrate with a 19-point lead in these final minutes. Devontae Dedmon getting help now, walking off the field and limping. The 3 previous years, the Argos hosted the Eastern Final. Trying to get back to that CFL Final 4 game, this time on the road in Montreal. That one is caught. Out around midfield is Braylon Addison.
Well, Ottawa's going to keep swinging until the end here. Trying to force something to happen, but we all know about that Toronto defensive line, their ability to get after it, and they'll just be pinning their ears back. Trying to get to Drew Brown right now.
There's 2:10 on the clock. And coming up, the Western semifinal. Vernon Adams and the BC Lions up against Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Trevor Harris, the quarterback in Ottawa, the last time they had a postseason game, that was 6 years ago. And it's been some lean years for the REDBLACKS in between. A couple of 4-win and 3-win seasons before breaking out this year, winning 9-8-1 they finished with, and back to the playoffs. But in a bind right now. Oh, intercepted! Benji Franklin! Could it be happening again? It is! Back-to-back defensive touchdowns. And the Argos are really running away with it now.
Well, the risk of these kinds of plays from an Ottawa perspective obviously increases when you get in this situation. You're pressing, you got to make something happen offensively. You hate to see one like that off the receiver. But the Argos, give them credit for making plays happen. tight window. Franklin steps in front of it. Then the CFL leader this season in pass breakups, Benji Franklin. Bit of a slow start to the season, spent a little bit of time at the field corner spot, really seemed to find his home on the boundary side.
A day of big plays for the home side. The first on offense for the Argos. And in this fourth quarter, their defense kicking in a couple of touchdowns. 58-32, under 2 minutes to go. And Toronto can make plans for another Eastern final meeting against the Montreal Alouettes.
Franklin, nice jump on the ball. I don't know if the receiver got a piece of it at all as Franklin stepped in front. Disappointment for Drew Brown and the REDBLACKS.
And for the Argos, who had 3 regular season meetings against Montreal. And they did win 2 of them, including one at Molson Stadium. 58 points scored, 3rd most in the history of the CFL playoffs. Edmonton had 68 points in a playoff game against Winnipeg back in 1996. That's the record. The Argos have racked up a lot here. And yes, against the Alouettes in the regular season, Montreal won here in week 4. 2 weeks later, the Argos beat the Alouettes at McGill, and that was Montreal's first loss of the season. That was a game Cody Fajardo got hurt early. And then they met again last month, Dwayne, here at BMO, and the Alouettes had just found out they had clinched first before the game. They knew they already had first place wrapped up. And that was a close one. The Argos did manage to win that, ran the ball very well against Montreal. That was the Alouettes' first road loss in over a year.
I think in the world of storytelling, probably a matchup a reasonable number of people wanted to see.
Well, it writes itself in
a return match.
Yeah, absolutely. After the Argos at 16-2 were favored against Montreal in the Eastern Final here a year ago. That's Khalil Pimpleton. Keeps working, keeps fighting down about the 45. But that game, that Eastern Final a year ago here, Chad Kelly's first playoff start, I should say. He got intercepted. They had an impressive opening drive. He was picked off by Marc-Antoine Dequoy. It went the other way, and it set the tone for a game where the Alouettes defense in particular really dominated. 9 turnovers forced in that game, 4 interceptions. And Montreal, of course, goes on and beats Winnipeg to win the Grey Cup. Now, in a game this decisive now, you still wonder about this decision at the end of the half on that kick that ended up going to Toronto. And that squib and setting up a field goal in the final play of the half.
Yeah, I mean, presumably they're trying to get the ball to go a little deeper there, get it on the ground, run timeout, not let it get back to Janarian Grant. But the fact that they don't, it did. It changed the face of the game. It changed from an emotional point of view, changed the momentum of the game from a strategic point of view.
Caught at the 20. Barely a minute to go. Hardy.
You even go back strategically to when Ottawa trailed by 15. And they score a touchdown. Like, if they hadn't given up the 3 points and instead of 15, that's 12, you don't have to go for 2 though. Right? And going for 2 left it as a 2-score game at that point. And yeah, just costly with the amount of time left. You know,
there are 2 offsetting fouls, 15-yard penalty. Ottawa number 54, Toronto 94. The clock will start on the snap.
You look at the squib versus Look at what Toronto's done on their kickoffs all day today.
Yeah.
Right? With the moonshot kicks, it's not getting to the deep returner if your fear is Janarian Grant. The guys in the next row aren't going to return the ball. The clock's going to run out, and you go to the dressing room with a 6-point lead.
That one's caught by Ackland, who had a touchdown earlier in this game, and back then had given the Red Blacks the lead. Late in the half, after the Ackland touchdown, they had a 6-point lead. Looked like they were going to take that to the dressing room until the aforementioned short kick that led to the field goal to cut their lead to 3 at the half. And you're right, from a momentum point of view, that really hurt the Red Blacks. And the Argos jumped on it. A couple of touchdowns, quick touchdowns to start these.
Well, it was gift points, and again with Toronto receiving to start the second half, and Toronto comes out and scores a touchdown. Like, Toronto had back-to-back possessions. So you said it at the time, Rod. Drew Brown goes off the field with 6 seconds left in the first half, and he has a 6-point lead. The next time he even sets foot on the field, they're behind. Toronto has scored 10 points before Ottawa's offense has even had a chance to get back on the field.
41-9 the score in favor of the Argos since the decision. Just a minute to go in this East semifinal, and the Argos in charge and continuing to flex their muscle as Jake Ceresna is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Jake Ceresna, who started his CFL career with the Ottawa Redblacks.
Yeah, left side of your screen. Fights his way through 2 offensive linemen to get a hand on that one. Ceresna, who as impactful as he was, 8 sacks from his defensive tackle spot. That's actually his first pass knockdown of the year.
Coming with a minute to go. And then the Argos are going to be off to Montreal to face the Alouettes. In that game, for the right to go to Vancouver and break up 111. Blitz coming. He gets rid of it. Mardner with it inside the 10, but Academic now with a 26-point difference. And an injured player, Deshaun Amos, is down. One of the stars of the secondary for the Argos. So we know Toronto's going to Montreal for the Eastern Final. Who will be going to Winnipeg in the West? Trevor Harris, Vernon Adams. Once teammates with the Alouettes, A.J. Ouellette, William Stanback, and the BC Lions. Hey, third-place teams have done it before. Remember the Blue Bombers of 2019? They had to go on the road, win a couple of road games to get to the Grey Cup, and they won it. So the Lions keeping the faith. The Riders, though, look great against them the last time they met just 3 weeks ago.
What do you say?
When Saskatchewan clinched a home playoff date. Amos is still down. And that's the thing about this for the Argos now. They know they're moving on. It's the injury concerns. Defensive halfback and veteran Deshaun Amos.
Well, you'll see Amos here coming up to make the tackle. You see him grab his left leg there immediately. It looked like Mardner's left knee caught him on the inside of his knee. Obviously concern here for the Argos. Again, Deshaun Amos. Kind of a quiet second half to the season for him, but made a lot of big plays for them through the first 9 or 10 games of the year. Went on to earn their nomination as most outstanding defensive player. Toronto perhaps fortunate to have a little bit of depth at halfback, having picked up second-year man Kenneth George. He's getting some time now. He came over from Hamilton. He was released there when they went through their coaching changes defensively.
And Amos, all also with the connection, as many Argos do, to the Calgary Stampeders, part of the team in 2018 on the roster that year when Calgary won the Grey Cup, but favoring that leg as we saw as he walks it off with some help. Big part he has been of that Argonaut secondary. 5 interceptions to lead the way for Toronto in 2024. And walking a little better as he heads off to the sideline. To the end zone and a touchdown late in this one for Braylon Addison. Not enough in this day with 40 seconds to go, but upwards of 40 points being put up by the Red Blacks. In the first half especially, offense was not the problem.
Yeah, Addison's free release to the flat gets a little rub from Khalil Pimpleton. Upfield, making it hard for Mark Milton to get out there in coverage.
It's commonly said as a team faces the end of the season looking for something to build on, but the Red Blacks, when you look back at 2024 and the 2-point conversion try doesn't work out, intended for Hardy, but Wayne, this is an Ottawa team that's seen a lot of hard times since that last postseason game in the Grey Cup 6 years ago, and yes, something to build on. A great home record and a winning record overall, secured last week against Hamilton at 9-8-1, but I think something for fans to look forward to next year.
Yeah, certainly. You mentioned the record, obviously a positive with the turnaround there, but it's not just the record, it's not just the results, right? You talk all the time in building a team about process, and a lot of it is about having the right people. And when you look at guys like Drew Brown, for example, Dominic Rhymes coming back, bringing in a Darius Pickett, Darius Blada. Bob Dice talked to us this week about how unique it's been this year, not just the camaraderie of the team, which he loves, but the fact that a lot of the guys in leadership roles are guys that were new to the team this year and sort of stepped in and were assimilated into those roles very quickly. So you've got a lot of pieces there to build and grow with going forward for the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Drew Brown was 8-6-1 as a starter his first year as a CFL starting quarterback, coming over and I'm sure learning a lot under Zach Collaros and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And we talked about the single team record for points. Now the Argos are third, but you combine these points today, that ties a playoff record in CFL history. Most combined points scored in a single game at 96. Short kick. Saw Lewis Ward do this well a couple of weeks ago, but that time the Argos are ready, and it's, look who it is, Tavares Daniels taking it off the hop. Ward, a couple of weeks ago as Ottawa tried to come back, executed 2 of those as Ottawa got the ball and ended up scoring.
Well, no doubt there was a little PTSD for the Argos. With Lewis Ward lining up for that short kick, given the way that those turned out for Toronto in the regular season. But as you said, they get it done, and this goes back to what we talked about, right? The adversity of it during the regular season, they got things cleaned up with the Hands team in the playoffs.
Learn from it. Victory formation, Nick Arbuckle out. They get set for the first Eastern Final in Montreal since 2012. By the way, that one back in 2012, it was the Argos against the Alouettes, and Toronto had a new assistant coach that year, the quarterback's coach by the name of Jason Moss. Might remember that year. But it was the Alouettes triumphant a year ago in the East Final here at BMO Field. And now the Argos will be hoping to return the favor next week at Molson Stadium in Montreal. The Alouettes, the defending champions, have other ideas, I'm sure. Looking to get back to the Grey Cup for a second straight year. Ball down, game over. Argos win. And moving on to the Eastern Final for a fourth straight year. They defeat the Ottawa REDBLACKS 58-38.
Well, convincing effort put forth by the Toronto Argonauts here. After these two teams had split their regular season matchups. Each team having dominating moments during those regular season games. In the rubber match here, Ottawa hung tough for a long time, went toe-to-toe leading at halftime of this ball game, but the Toronto Argonauts, on the strength of their big plays, both offensively and defensively, despite a CFL record 46 completions by Drew Brown in this game.
Chad Kelly's numbers 18 for 20, 358, 4 touchdowns, no picks, standing by with Matthew.
Chad, that's a playoff record for points for the Argos. Is this the most explosive team in the CFL?
No, we're just trying to keep on working hard every day, stack good days on top of good days. Just try to get better each and every day.
And to that point, does it feel like unfinished business now that you're going to Montreal in the East Final?
We're just trying to get better each and every day. 1-0 is our mentality.
Thank you for this.
Go Argos.
Chad Kelly didn't need much time when it came to some of those touchdowns that they ended up driving for as well. But the Argonauts, not as good in the regular season in terms of record as last year where they finished 16-2. But as he had talked about, not how you start, it's how you finish. The Argos hoping to make that next step and get to the Grey Cup. But first, the Alouettes stand in their way. That's our Eastern Final matchup. Thank you for watching this East semifinal from Toronto. Have a great night, everyone.